Well, good morning. Happy July 1st. Patrick Perrett and Jen Jensen with you heading into the long July 4th weekend. And boy, do we have stuff to talk about. We usually dread these summer shows, and I was thinking, what am I going to talk about for 2 days while Bill's gone? 3 hours by myself. I got to come up with some topics. I was literally looking at the odds for the hot dog eating contest on Monday. Joey Chestnut's minus 3,000. Take him against the field over 74 and a half hot dogs. I was just trying to figure out what can I do to just push through this holiday show. And wow, the Big Ten came through for us. College football came through for us. College football always comes through for us. There's never a dull moment in this sport. And really, there's no off season. So if you missed the news, it pretty much dominated the entire day. It must have been sometime around lunchtime. The rumors came out. The rumors started to circulate that Southern Cal and UCLA were reaching out and looking into joining the Big Ten. And by 9, 10 p.m. last night, it was official. The speed at which this moved was absolutely insane. And I cannot either. I mean, an emergency meeting, I guess, with all of the presidents, athletic directors. I mean, it was an easy vote, I guess. It doesn't sound like when Texas and Oklahoma said they were going to join the SEC, it was about a year ago. It was rumored. We had all the conversations about Greg Sankey sitting Texas A&M in a corner and saying, "You're going to vote yes. You're going to vote yes on this." I don't even think there was any discussion with Southern Cal and UCLA. I think it was just a lock. Like, yeah, you guys are in. Both good athletic institutions, both really hard schools to get into. They actually do, in a lot of ways, fit the Big Ten culture. They just happen to be on the West Coast. They happen to be 6 hour minimum, I think, flight from some of the East Coast schools. Maryland, Rutgers, that's a genuine cross-country flight now. There's no geography in this sport anymore. And I do wonder, wherever we end up, which is going to be the topic of discussion today, is it going to be super conferences? Is it going to be the SEC and the Big Ten? Is it going to become basically the AFC and the NFC? Is that where we're headed? So the natural questions are, all morning I'm going to be trying to come up with this. What's the USC angle? What's the South Carolina angle? That's what I've been trying to think of. Are we just happy that we're in a super conference right now? Because it seems like if you're not in the SEC or the Big Ten, you're just lost at this point. So the obvious question is, what's next? Because this is clearly the beginning of something much bigger. So first of all, who does the Big Ten want next? There's a couple massive properties left in college football right now that do not have super conferences. Notre Dame is one of the big ones. You've now got basically the entire Pac-12. And what does the ACC do? If you're in the ACC, I want to know what a Clemson fan was thinking yesterday. There's two ways that I can think that they might be thinking, which would be, well, this sucks. We're stuck in the ACC until 2035, 2036. What's going to happen to us? Or they might be thinking, hey, this is great. We get to let all of the best teams cannibalize each other, and we're just going to continue to chill in the ACC with Florida State and Miami and Virginia Tech, who are all not good right now. Maybe Miami's on the way up, but this is good. We're just chilling. We're not going to have to battle through all of the best teams in the country. I want to know where Clemson fans are at, if they're listening, if anyone's listening this morning, or if everyone's on vacation. But there's a couple ways that this could go. Are we going to have 4 super conferences? Are we just going to divvy up the rest of the Pac-12 at this point? I know that the Big 12 is looking to get aggressive now. That's what I've heard. They want to add the Arizona schools, Arizona State. They might want to add Utah. They just got BYU. Why not add Utah and BYU? Do they want Colorado? They're just going to try to expand their reach. Is this an opportunity for the Big 12 to grow? And if, say, the Big 12 adds Arizona State, Utah, Colorado, where does that leave them? Are they a power conference? I mean, they're obviously a power conference, but how does that stack up to the SEC and the Big Ten? So for South Carolina and us SEC fans, who do you want next? Do we need to go out and grab Oregon and Washington? Are they next on the list for the Big Ten? Does the Big Ten say we need Stanford? Because the Big Ten and the SEC, they have sort of different values. The Big Ten is a little hoity-toity, and they feel like they need the great academic brands. So who's next for them? Is it Stanford? Is it Stanford or Notre Dame? Do they want to just get to 20 and say we need 4 teams? We're going to get Stanford, Notre Dame, Oregon, Washington? Maybe. But who's next for the SEC? 803-404-6100. That's the number to the Love Chevrolet phone lines. Please give us a call. Let us know what you're thinking. There's a lot of different ways we can take this conversation. I wrote down a bunch of different angles. Try and keep it in line, but this is, by all accords, this is a massive day for college football. And maybe it's the beginning of the end for the NCAA as well, or at least the NCAA is the governing body of college football. I think we're heading in that direction. So 803-404-6100. Give us a call on the Love Chevrolet phone lines. Shoot us a text on the Cool Care Heating and Air Text lines. Come join us on the live stream. You can go to youtube.com, type in 1075 The Game, click subscribe, and you can follow along with DC, CW, Dakar, Carlton, all on this morning. You can also find that stream on Facebook, and you can find it on Twitter if you go to 1075 The Game pages. So what does this mean? What is next? Is the ACC screwed? Is the Big 12 in a position to be aggressive here? Is the ACC going to try and force their way out? So I guess for the South Carolina angle, the biggest fallout could mean that this signals the end of the ACC. The ACC is no longer going to be a power conference, and teams are going to force their way out, and Clemson will eventually be in the SEC. That would be the natural, I think, South Carolina angle. Or just saying, hey, we're in a super conference. It's pretty much confirmed. The SEC is not going to take over the world. It's not going to be everybody joining the SEC, and there's just going to be one college football power conference, super conference, and we'll play each other, and everybody else can go play football over there. No, the Big Ten is here to stay. There will be 2 super conferences, if not more, but there will be at least 2 super conferences. So if anyone was excited about the opportunity to be in the lone SEC super conference, it's not going to happen. Ohio State's not coming. Ohio State's not coming to the SEC. So are they going to go get Clemson? And we got to talk about the TV deals. A lot of this stuff is way over my head, and it's really confusing. But what's going to hurt the ACC is this deal with ESPN for the next 20 years. It runs through 2035, 2036 season. And by all accounts, it's not a very good deal. There are lots of projections saying the South Carolina SEC deal is going to double. They're going to get double. Every school from the SEC is going to get double what the ACC is going to get within the next 5 to 10 years per year on an annual basis. So how do they get out of that? Does ESPN help or hurt them in this process? Does ESPN say, hey, we got to join the party or we're going to get left behind, and allow their schools to leave and go join some of these super conferences? Or does ESPN say, look, we got a stranglehold on Miami, Florida, Clemson, Virginia Tech, basically the whole state of North Carolina. Boston. We got some big cities. We got some big brands. We're not letting them out of this. Maybe college football is going to change, but if they want our schools, they're going to have to wait another 20 years. So how does the ACC play this? Another very interesting question. Does Notre Dame feel like they need to join a conference now or get left behind? Is the money too ridiculous now? I think the answer is going to be yes. I think this means the end of Notre Dame as an independent, but we'll see. Crazy, 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 crazy day in college football. That's going to be remembered for a long time. That we will always remember the year that Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC and changed the complexion of the sport, and then when Southern Cal and UCLA left the Pac-12, which they've been a member for a combined 194 years. Southern Cal joined the Pacific Conference 100 years ago, and UCLA joined 94 years ago. And now the closest school to them, I believe, is Nebraska. Just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Geography's gone. The NCAA is probably going to be gone. 803-404-6100. Take this any direction you want to. Call us, text us. We got 3 hours to go, so it's going to be a wild ride. It's the early game. 175 the game.
And throughout the afternoon and evening today, and expecting a high of about 82. Warming up tomorrow and Sunday, 90 and 92 for the highs. Again, those isolated storms are possible throughout the weekend. Right now, though, it's overcast, kind of muggy out there, and it's 75 at 107.5 game.
The Extra Point
with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5. The Game.
Ready. Good morning, everybody. Really is a shame this happens on a Friday before a 3-day weekend when most people probably aren't working. It's a shame Bill can't be here.
The game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Eight zero 803-404-6100. That is the number to the Love Charlotte phone line. Then the Cool Care Heating and Air text lines are going to be on there all morning. A couple texts I want to get to. Jim in Carolina Beach asked about the Clemson fans. And of course, he makes the comment. This Clemson fan and graduate, 1976 graduate, is okay as long as the Tigers keep whipping the chickens in football and make it to the CFP. Well, that's all fine and dandy.
But the question is, what does this mean for the CFP? Does this mean the CFP will cease to exist? Is there a need for the CFP? We talked a couple weeks ago about Greg Sankey threatening the SEC-only playoff. Since he was not happy with how expansion talks ended, he wanted more SEC schools in the mix. He said, okay, well, we might do our own thing then. This was just a couple weeks ago. He suddenly looks a lot more serious, and that looks a lot more viable now. What if we get to the point where the SEC and the Big Ten say, we don't want to do your stupid little college football playoff. We don't want to be part of it. We don't want to be a part of the league where Cincinnati can go play a bunch of nobodies and they can be in the college football playoff, and then we've got to whoop them. And really, we could have just had 2 SEC teams in there, 2 Big Ten teams in there. We all know the best teams are in the Big Ten and the SEC anyway. We're just going to do our own thing. Is it hard? Is it that hard to envision a couple years down the road an SEC-only playoff, a Big Ten-only playoff? Get both those conferences to 20 teams. Say, here's what we're going to do. Each of these conferences, forget pods, forget the permanent opponents. We're just going to have 2 10-team divisions in each conference. A 10-team East, SEC East, a 10-team SEC West, a 10-team Big Ten West, a 10-team Big Ten East. We're going to play a season. The winners of each of those, the Big Ten East, Big Ten West, are going to play each other. Crown a Big Ten champion at the Rose Bowl. The winners of the SEC East and SEC West, they're going to play each other. We'll crown a champion in Atlanta or at the Sugar Bowl. And the winners will play each other. And the Big Ten champion and the SEC champion will be the national champion. Sounds a lot like the Super Bowl. Sounds a lot like the AFC and the NFC. But maybe that's where we're headed. So if I'm a Clemson fan, sure, that's fine. Say what you want. But I'd be worried. If the ESPN and the ACC are going to stop you from doing what you want to do, I can't imagine a situation where Clemson gets left in the dust, or Florida State gets left in the dust, or any ACC school gets left behind here. But I also couldn't imagine 24 hours ago that Southern California and the University of California, Los Angeles would be playing in the Big Ten. And now, in less than one day, it's gone from rumor to official. Absolutely insane. So who's going to get left? What's this going to mean? Does it matter if you're playing college football if you're not in the Big Ten, the SEC? Is the college football playoff going to be, is it going to be Clemson, Baylor, and then a group of 5 team and the winner of the Pac-12? Like, is it going to be the Pac-12 going to play a 10-team season and Oregon's going to make it? I don't know. But now I think expansion is probably inevitable. I was really thinking hard about what this means for the postseason aspect of college football. And yes, I think it's very, very possible that the Big Ten and SEC will just play each other as champions. But the 12-team playoff that was suggested and shut down, and Greg Sankey was initially, I think, upset about, the format involved 12 teams with 6 conferences getting the first 6 bids. That's not going to happen anymore. Why? Why in the world would the Big Ten and the SEC vote for a playoff structure that has automatic qualifiers for any conference but their own? If they're looking and they're saying, hey, 90% of college football powerhouses are in our conferences, we don't need 6 AQs. We don't need the winner of the Mountain West or the Sun Belt getting involved in this. The Big 12, it's a joke. We don't need the winner of that joining us. We don't need the winner of the ACC getting an automatic bid. It's pointless. So where does college football playoff expansion go? The layers of this are just insane, and I don't know where it ends up, and I don't know how you can be comfortable. If you're a Clemson fan, if you're a Florida State fan, certainly if you're an Oregon fan, and I'll get to this. Who gets left out? We get from a texter. As a West Virginia fan, I'm fearful that it's us. The haves and the have-nots make little sense. Geography will still matter in some ways. Well, I do think if you are a fan of a team in the Big 12, and geography is just out the window. We could probably do a show just talking about what's the most ridiculous geographical team. I've always loved that Louisville is on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Missouri is in the Southeast. But now nothing's more ridiculous than the fact that the University of Maryland and Southern Cal are in the same conference. And we can't pretend that this is a student athlete thing. I will read the statements. I'll pull up the statements from Southern Cal and UCLA. And I think they both mentioned we do what's best for our student athletes. We don't believe that, right? Unless they're saying we're doing what's right because pretty soon the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be professional leagues and everybody else is going to be playing college football. We want to play pro football. We want our kids to make money. In that case, yes. But you can't make the case that having to fly across the country, across 2 time zones, 3 time zones, 6 hours or so, changing your body clock, a UCLA kid during midterms, flying to New York City to play Rutgers on a Saturday morning at 9 a.m. West Coast time. Is that what's best for him? Is that what's best for the student athlete? I don't know. But I think we got to stop pretending that. And we might as well just stop calling them student athletes because pretty soon they're all just going to be pros. They're going to be pros that go to college at the same time. It is getting crazy. And who's going to get left out? That's going to be the discussion that we'll move towards next. Who do you want? Where are these teams going to go? There are some valuable brands left in college football. Where are they going to go? That's the multi-billion-dollar question. We'll talk about it as we move forward some more. It's the early game, 107.5 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's
30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years.
Number 20, linebacker, Jasper Brinkley.
This one up for grabs, jump ball, and knocked away. It's picked off by Brinkley.
Number 19, quarterback, Steve Taneyhill.
Here comes the blitz. Tannehill. He'll run. Touchdown. Oh, watch him celebrate now.
Number 18, wide receiver and kick returner, Ace Sanders.
Hey, Sanders, are you kidding me? Touchdown, Carolina.
Number 17,
AJ Cann, offensive guard, University of South Carolina.
A lot of guys look at me and see that AJ is going to work hard. He's going to give it everything he's got.
it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Earlier accidents have been cleared, so no accidents to report. No major slowdowns at this time. Just be careful because there is wet highways from earlier rains, and we are expecting to see more Again, later today, especially this afternoon and this evening, we could see some scattered showers and storms. 82 for the high, and then some isolated storms for your Saturday. Looking for a high of 90. And by the time we get to July 4th, chance for some storms, and actually it'll be warmer for sure. 91 for the high. Right now, though, 75 at 107.5 the game.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code Summer Sale at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust is the right way to clean.
Attention, Columbia.
I forgot until I heard that promo that we got. That we got top 30 today. I just looked. It's a big name. It's a big name.
Leverage it for world travel.
1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
And it's 6:35 on a Friday morning. It's Patrick and Jen with you. And of course, we've been talking about conference realignment. Southern Cal, UCLA, and the Big Ten. What's it mean? What's it mean for South Carolina? What's it mean for Clemson? What's it mean for college football? What's it mean for the NCAA? Could mean any number of things. And this is definitely just the beginning. This is going to be a summer topic. The Big Ten has pushed back their media rights negotiations until Labor Day or after Labor Day. It looks like they're going to wait until they get a deal done. After this news yesterday, they started talking to Apple. Apple's got a lot of money. The Big Ten wants $1 billion a year. And I think Apple can afford it. Is that where we're headed? Is the Big Ten, you're only going to be able to find the Big Ten on Apple TV? A lot of these cable viewers, you guys are going to have to figure out how to work the streaming platforms. You're going to have to get a Fire Stick. You're going to have to get something.
I don't think that's going to go over well.
Well, it's going to happen though. It's going to happen either way. There's a bunch of older people in Columbus, Ohio that are going to have to go out there and buy Rokus. They're going to have their kids come over and sign into the TVs for them, walk them through it.
Are the boosters with all the money, are they going to want to have to deal with that?
They're going to be at the games. I don't know, but are they going to care when it means that Apple is going to give them $1 billion every single year and every team in the Big Ten is going to get $100 million a year, just a check cut for $100 million a year? I don't know. I mean, money's going to talk here. They're going to try and stay on top. I don't think recruits care where their game's being played anymore. They all know how to watch Apple TV. But we've already got the NFL on Amazon. There's going to be legit NFL games on Amazon every week. And I guess this is just the future. ESPN's going to have all the SEC properties, but we're losing Fox. We're losing CBS. If Notre Dame leaves, we're losing NBC. So the way you view college football is definitely going to be different. It's just a matter of how much. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevrolet phone lines. We got Thomas on the line. Thomas, morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. What you got on your mind?
We're talking about the conference realignment and what SEC needs to do to, I guess, basically get more teams to level up with the Big Ten. I don't see why we couldn't pull in Baylor, which would actually fit all sports. They're good in basketball and baseball.
Yeah. What's the one? You need one more. If you're say they're going in pairs, who else do you want? Baylor and who?
I would say West Virginia.
Okay, I like that.
Then again, the Big Ten, not the Big Ten, the Big 12, they could also benefit from this. They can say, hey, Utah, looks like you're falling apart. Why don't you join us? Washington, why don't you join us? Because I don't think the Pac-10, as it stands now, is going to last. I really don't.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Thomas, and I agree. The Pac-12, it's the biggest loser in all of this is George Kliavkoff, the commissioner of the Pac-12. He didn't create this mess, but it's his fault, or it's his problem now to deal with. Larry Scott was the worst commissioner in college athletics for a long time. Made them a terrible deal. Upset Southern Cal. Southern Cal thought we're the only thing holding up this conference. So, of course, they got aggressive. And really, when Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC last year, this is also a hilarious storyline. Lincoln Riley, I don't even know if we all remember last year, but we made the Lincoln Riley jokes. As soon as Oklahoma joins the SEC, Lincoln Riley leaves. So we said Lincoln Riley's scared of the SEC. Well, now he's went to the cupcake Pac-12, and all of a sudden, now he's going to the Big Ten. So poor Lincoln Riley can't run from the competition forever. But Southern Cal has completely changed the way they're doing business. When they had Lynn Swan as their AD, things like this wouldn't happen. But they've pretty much operated under a whole new MO the last couple years. So Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC, signaling a seismic change in college football. And Southern Cal does the unthinkable and prize one of the most famous head coaches out of a power school that's been playing in the college football playoff every other year, something we never thought would happen because they knew they were going to get left in the dust. And then what do they do next? They bail on a conference that they are the members of, the key members of. 100 years of history in that conference, holding up the conference, bunch of championships. I think it was seven or eight national championships, or 7 Heisman winners, bunch of national championships. And they brought UCLA with them. I don't think UCLA had much to do with this. I think this was the University of Southern California, steering the ship and saying, well, we need UCLA. We still like tradition. We still want to play our rivals. We're bringing UCLA. And the Big Ten said, please do. We want them too. We won't talk about it at all today, but basketball is obviously very affected by this. We don't know how this is going to affect the other sports. From what I had read and heard, as of right now, this is just a football-basketball thing. Maybe it's an everything thing, but man, imagine like swimmers or track or whatever sport having to fly 50, I don't know how many kids are on a swimming team, but having to fly a swimming team from California to Rutgers, those costs are going to add up.
Costs are going to add up. And think of the extra time it's going to take, as far as them being out of classes and stuff like that. It's definitely impactful in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about what this means for the Olympic sports and the non-rev sports in general. Are they just going to cut them because they're going to say, look, this is not tenable? Or are they going to say, well, it doesn't really matter. We have more money than we know what to do with now. We have some sort of agreement where not all of the money that we make from this $1 billion deal can be spent on facilities. So we'll make this place perfect. We'll upgrade the football facility, the basketball facility. We'll put suites in our stadium, whatever we want to do, but we'll still have plenty of money left over to pay for all these kids to travel. You can't be having the swimming team, the Southern Cal swimming team, taking commercial flights to the East Coast and the Midwest every single week when they're trying to do
You would
classes.
think with the amount of money that they're going to be getting, they've got to allocate for that, knowing that that's
I think they will. I think they will. And I think what's next for the Big Ten has to be adding more of a West Coast presence, because you can't have Southern Cal and UCLA just out there on an island by themselves. That actually might be damaging to those schools recruiting, because what do you mean? I have to fly to Nebraska one week, then New York the next, then Wisconsin the next, then Maryland the next. Like, what? I can't do that. That's going to be terrible. It's going to destroy the body clock. So that's just another thing that's going to need to be worked out. There's a lot to get into. We'll try and get into as much as we can. We got a little over 2 more hours to go, but 803-404-6100 is the number if you want to get involved on the phone lines or the text lines. We'll keep this conversation going. It's the early game, 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Friday halftime show. First day of July. We're getting there, kids, closer to media days. Number 12 on the countdown. We got a surprise for you on the halftime show. So make sure you're here with us, especially around the second half of the program. But we will continue to talk about the bombshell news around college football, as at least college athletics, as Southern California and UCLA look to depart the Pac-12 for the Big Ten.
Now, it's all about big markets and getting schools from big markets, right, Jack?
Yes.
New York City's number 1 media market in the country, right?
It is.
I just found a school in New York City that has no conference affiliation. The Fashion Institute of Technology. Just saying.
You're a visionary.
The halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy
noon to 3
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
That promo was a little scary, actually. I kind of would like to hear Terry Ford talk about fashion and such. Anyway, as far as traffic is concerned, there is a report of some people on the roadway, Railroad Avenue at South Lake Drive. So if you're having to cross through that area, just be careful and watch out for a few people walking around. Want them to be safe this morning. And showers and thunderstorms are possible this afternoon and this evening. Isolated storms tomorrow, afternoon and evening storms on Sunday. Possible pop-up storms on Monday as well. Looking for a high today of 82. Then we bump up into the 90s for the rest of the weekend. Low 90s, that is. Right now, though, 75 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Midland Air Service Experts. Water heater worries? There's an expert for that.
Let your local experts at Midland Air Service Experts give you worry-free hot water as low as $28.99 plus tax a month. Call 866-EXPERTS.
How Bill's
See
doing
website for license
weekend
and
away.
Hey, Fido, what you doing? Hi, Sparky. I got this new bone, and I'm looking for a place
Not
to
gonna lie,
bury
he'll
it.
get rained
Hold
out
on,
at least
Fido.
one day or
I
get
heard
wet.
my humans talking about how they needed to call 811 before they
Doesn't
started
evil
digging.
like that.
What for? There are utilities underground, and when you tell 811 where you're planning to dig, they'll have the utility owners come out and mark them so you can avoid hitting them. I'm going to call 811 right now. Sparky, help. I just remembered I don't have thumbs. Sponsored by South Carolina 811. Aired by SCBA and this station.
Our homes, we protect them from intruders with security systems. But there's another kind of intruder most people aren't aware of until it's too late. Home title thieves. When a criminal transfers your home title to a fake identity and steals your title, no one will notify you. Not the police, not even your bank. Sadly, people find out when it's too late, when their home is sold out from under them, or the eviction notice comes. That's when the legal nightmare begins. You need Home Title Lock, America's leader in home title protection. For just pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. Cyber technology has made it easy for criminals to steal your home. Home Title Lock alerts you if your home becomes their target. Make sure you're not already a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and for a limited time, get your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value, free with sign up. Again, that's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
The Early Game, 107.5
The game.
Yep.
And wrapping up our number one of the early game. Last show before we get you into a 3-day weekend. It's going to be an interesting weekend. I haven't mentioned this yet because I know no one cares. But I'll just briefly mention Kevin Durant requested a trade yesterday, which is actually huge news. And I turned on ESPN when I woke up because I had just assumed that they were going to open with that. And they did. They're opening with the NBA. I've been watching for an hour, whatever radio show this is with Keyshawn Johnson. I saw this college football news go up for one segment, and they've been talking about the NBA for the rest of the hour. So we're just in such a different market and situation. But I know nobody cares about the NBA, but a lot of money was given out yesterday. I just wrote down some of the massive deals. So for people that get mad about how much money spent the NBA, here's your opportunity. Jalen Brunson, the Villanova standout who's played for the Mavericks, just signed a 4-year, $110 million with the New York Knicks. Devin Booker signed a 4-year, $214 million with the Suns. Nikola Jokic signed a 5-year, $264 million deal with the Denver Nuggets. Bradley Beal signed a 5-year, $251 million deal with the Wizards. Last night, Ja Morant, late last night, signed his 5-year, $193 rookie max deal. So Ja Morant, now a very rich man. Karl-Anthony Towns last night also signed a 4-year, $224 million deal. And yeah, KD wants to get traded to Miami or Phoenix. And those teams apparently, or the Nets apparently, are interested in getting Devin Booker or Bam Adebayo in return if he were to go to one of those two places. But it was rumored that 15 teams reached out wanting Kevin Durant. And there's now rumors that the Lakers want to trade for Kevin Durant and Kyrie together and would put together a mega package to be one of the biggest trades in NBA history. We'll see how that plays out, but just wanted to mention it because it is a sports show and this is actually really big news. but not as big for our market as the college football news that happened yesterday. And yeah, Southern Cal, UCLA joining the Big Ten, going to be the topic of discussion all morning long. Obviously, we'll get you a top 30 Gamecock. I keep forgetting about that because this news is just overwhelming. But we do have number 12 on the top 30 list, and it's a big name. It's a popular name. It's a good player. Someone that deserves to be talked about. But this news is just big, so we'll get to that when we get there. Rich texts in two things. One, he says no major university flies commercial anymore. They all have their own planes or charter a jet. Football and basketball, they do, yes. But that doesn't mean the tennis team is flying private.
No.
It doesn't mean the swim team's flying private. They need to get multiple private planes if they're going to send the basketball team, the men's and women's basketball team, the swimming team, the track team.
Yeah, I mean, what if they all have games on at one
Right.
weekend or something? Mhm.
If the women's basketball team's playing in Wisconsin and the men's basketball team's playing in Nebraska and the swimming team has a meet in Maryland, they can't all fly private. So these things need to be.
We're gonna drop you off here, and then we're gonna go here. We'll come back and pick you up on the swing side. Yeah,
drop the swimmers off in Maryland, and
Exactly.
then we'll get you guys to Nebraska on the way back.
You guys swim back. It's okay.
Yeah. So no, that's the logistically it's going to be a huge issue, but they're not thinking about that right now. I mean, the money's going to be there, so they're going to figure it out. But he says, how about Clemson and FSU to the SEC? And then Marshall says it's inevitable. Clemson and Florida State will be in the SEC. Ron from Lake at Marion says if Clemson and Florida State were offered membership by the SEC today, they would take it. No conference loyalty anymore. Money, money, money. Correct. But Clemson and Florida State can't be offered membership to the SEC. They are stuck in a deal right now. They're stuck in a media rights deal till 2035 and 2036. So that is just, I don't know at all how that's going to play out, but that's going to be a major factor. ESPN basically holds the keys to a lot of this college football playoff expansion or college football expansion, conference realignment, the future of the sport. And I just don't know which way they're going to go on it. If Clemson goes to them and says, hey, we want to be out of the ACC. We don't want to be here anymore. Does ESPN say, that's funny because we got a contract with you for the next 20 years. So you're going to be here. I guess it's not 20 years. I guess it's 13 years at this point.
That's still a long
But point is,
contract.
yeah. Everything else, I mean, Southern Cal is going to be playing in the Big Ten in 2 years. That's very, very soon. So will ESPN say to Clemson, sorry, we're not letting you leave? Why would we do that? Or does ESPN potentially see an opportunity of, well, if we let them out of this, then we let Clemson and Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech, we let them go to the SEC. We already have the deal with the SEC. This can make us even more money for the SEC. College football is going this direction anyway, so do we want to be the ones holding it back, or do we want to capitalize on this opportunity? But if they say, all right, ACC deal scrapped, anybody can do what they want to do, and the ACC ceases to exist and all those teams leave, they're not all going to the SEC. Unless ESPN says, look, we're not letting you leave, but what we're going to do is we're going to combine the two conferences, and then we're going to have the SEACC, Southeastern Atlantic Coast Conference. And there's going to be 30 teams in it, and you guys can figure out what you want to do. But yeah, we own you both, so that's what we're doing. We're the first super conference. I don't see that happening. That's just a little bit too ridiculous. But if they're all left to their own devices, I don't think all these schools are going to the ACC or the SEC. And who does the SEC really want? If I go through the list, who would you really want? You would want Clemson. You would want Florida State. You would want Miami. You'd probably want Virginia Tech. You could care less probably about Boston College. Wake seems like a Big Ten school. UVA seems like a Big Ten school just with their academics and lackluster athletics. Do you want North Carolina and Duke, or North Carolina and Duke to hoity-toity and they think we're the academic institutions? We're not like Alabama. We need to go be with Michigan.
As I say, we need to be Big Ten.
Yeah. So North Carolina and Duke, Virginia, all seem like Big Ten type schools. Pittsburgh's going to the Big Ten probably. Louisville, you can bring Louisville back in with Kentucky. We'll take them. Georgia Tech, do we want them? They stink, but they're still in the Southeast. They're right in our market. So I don't know what happens to the ACC. And there was The first domino to fall, or the first major domino to fall, I think should be Notre Dame. What Notre Dame does is going to go a long way in determining the future of the Big Ten. And I saw a tweet, which we'll find out more about, but apparently Notre Dame can. It's not going to be impossible for them to get out of the ACC. Heather Dinich said, a source tweeted yesterday, a source told me that if Notre Dame were to withdraw from the ACC, it can play football wherever it wants. It would have to pay the exit fee and grant of rights fees for its other sports.
Okay. I wondered what it was going to take for them to get out.
Yeah.
They'll have somebody sponsor it. They'll get out. NBC will buy them.
Yeah. Or
buy them out.
The Big Ten or Apple will say, look, we'll take you. We'll give you $1 billion a year. We want Notre Dame, though. We want Notre Dame in this conference. And it'll happen. If Notre Dame's committed to doing this, it'll happen. It won't be too difficult. So Notre Dame has to be a Big Ten school. I mean, they're right in the footprint. They're exactly in line with everything the Big Ten does. They think they're better than everyone else, just like every school in the Big Ten. So Notre Dame, I mean, if the Big Ten could have its dream right now, I think they would get to 20 by adding Notre Dame, Stanford, and then Oregon and Washington. Then they've got a foothold on San Francisco, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, all up and down the West Coast. Right now, the top 4 media markets in America are Big Ten country. You got New York with Rutgers, however much people care about Rutgers in New York. You've got Los Angeles for sure with both those schools. You've got Philadelphia as number 4, and Penn State is the team of Philadelphia, basically. It's not Temple. And then you've got Chicago, of course, with Northwestern. And if you get Notre Dame, that even further secures Chicago. So
is the ACC happy if Notre Dame leaves?
No. Oh, no. And Peter Burns put out a good tweet yesterday saying the ACC fumbled their opportunity to force Notre Dame in. Notre Dame wouldn't have played football without the ACC in 2020, and the ACC did nothing to capitalize it, and now Notre Dame's going to leave them hanging. The ACC is going to get hung out to dry. Hour number 2 coming up. It's the early game, 107.5 game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late.
Okay, never mind my last text. Is Polly up and moving this morning?
No, she's too tired.
You been wearing her out?
Yeah, we went on a couple walks yesterday.
Ah.
I stayed up later than I had been yesterday. Just because I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos on this, trying to soak up as much as I can.
There you go.
And I stay up a little bit later going into a Friday. I'm not too worried about
Exactly.
sleep.
I got home. I had to get my son flew into Charlotte last night, and it took an hour for the bags to come through. I was furious. Like, the flight was delayed probably 15 minutes, made up some time. Okay, that's fine. But literally an hour. It was such a cluster. 3 Southwest planes came in within like 2 minutes of each other because I watched them. I was like, okay, which one is his? But they had it all discombobulated. It's like, okay, your bag's coming in here. Oh, no, your bag's coming in here. Well, no, let's look over here. So he like basically stood in the middle and was like, where? So it took an hour.
Watching everything.
Yeah. So, by the time get him something to eat and whatever, I got home about 20 to 12.
Oh.
And then just kind of wired, couldn't sleep. So trying to do the toothpick things with the eyes right now.
Yeah. The hour in baggage check is a stressful hour too. It's not like you're just sitting there for an hour.
Correct. Yeah, you're standing around with a bunch of other people.
Or not baggage check.
Baggage claim. Yep. Yeah, that was what was dumb. It's like stuff coming off of both. Nobody kind of knew where to be. And then he saw golf clubs come off, but somebody ended up carrying his because he'd taken clubs up. And all of a sudden you see somebody come through a door with his bag and somebody else's. And it's like, so where were these, you know? He was okay with them not coming down the chute, but...
Yeah. I'd have been panicking. I'd be like, they lost them. They lost them.
Right. Yep. You definitely can't miss this because you got to, cover for the bag. And I mean, red, white, and blue, because Trent is Mr. Patriotic, and I love it. I think it's awesome. He's like, well, I could get a black one, or I get red, white, and blue. Pretty awesome. All right, heading back in.
All right, here we go.
Pick'em winner. That would be pretty cool. I mean, you think about it, it would be me.
Patrick Perret and Jen Jensen.
Well, what better party?
Oh, yeah. You, your ego, and your second ego.
I mean, that would be a great party. That would be so much fun. Those are the people that I love the most.
Because I love me some me.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
I love me some me. I can't stand myself.
107.5.
Let me finish, Bill.
The Game.
Kicking off hour number 2, Friday edition of the early game. Patrick Brett and Jen Jensen with you. I actually think Bill's bummed this morning. I had this conversation with my girlfriend about doing the solo shows, and I said it can be stressful finding enough to think about. And she was like, well, hopefully something big happens. And I was like, yeah, hopefully something big happens, but if it's one thing, then you got to talk about the one thing for all 3 hours. That can be stressful too, because you don't know how many different ways to attack it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I wonder what would happen. NBA free agency. I can't talk 3 hours about whatever is going to happen in NBA free agency. But this, I mean, goodness gracious.
I'm all for calling Bill and getting his thoughts on this. I think that would be amazing.
Well, I actually, she asked me last night, she's like, you think Bill's going to call in? I was like, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I would be really bummed to miss a day like this.
Yeah.
Because this is just, there's no way you can exaggerate how huge this is for college football. So yeah, it is a bit of a bummer. I mean, this is the biggest news in college football since Texas and Oklahoma joined. So I don't know if this is bigger. I don't know if this is bigger than Texas and Oklahoma, but maybe it is because they set the table for this, and now we're taking the next step. And the commissioner angle of this is really intriguing to me too. There's a lot of different angles that are intriguing, but when Kevin Warren became commissioner of the Big Ten, what the first thing he did that everyone took note of was try to cancel the football season during COVID. Greg Sankey said, no. Well, the SEC is going to be playing football. And Kevin Warren dragged his feet, ended up playing a 6-game conference season, I think 6 or 8 games, while everybody else played 10. Almost cost Ohio State a chance at playing in the college football playoff because of this, because of his going back and forth. So everyone, when he came in, part of the discussion we had was, well, this guy's a dope. And Greg Sankey just bodied him and bullied him into playing football. He thought he was making a statement, and no, that did not happen. Then last year, Greg Sankey adds Texas and Oklahoma, gets that ego boost. He's the most powerful man in college football. This year, he's talking about doing an SEC-only playoff, all these things. Basically giving the middle finger to the rest of college football. There's an alliance to stop the SEC. Remember the alliance, the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the Big 10, ACC all saying, let's team up. Let's not let them do this. Well, the alliance just stabbed itself in the back because the Big 10 just raided the Pac-12. I mean, the alliance was the biggest joke of all time. wonder when all these commissioners got together, Kevin Warren was the leader of this alliance, I guess, because the Big Ten was the most powerful conference. Well, what's the story now? I mean, Kevin Warren has gone from an idiot to making one of the most important moves in the history of the Big Ten. So the commissioner angle of this is very interesting because it's a huge ego boost to be for Greg Sankey to be the commissioner that added Texas and Oklahoma, two of the major brands of college football. Texas, one of the biggest brands in the whole sport, in all of college sports. To add them was a massive boost to his ego. It changes his legacy as a commissioner. For Kevin Warren to get the Big Ten into Los Angeles is enormous. It's enormous for his legacy, for his ego. And I'm wondering, I'm sure Greg Sankey is talking to presidents of, I don't know, Oregon, maybe of some ACC schools that are like, what do we do, Greg? Greg, you got to get us out of the ACC, man. Talk to ESPN. Do what you can. Will Greg Sankey be motivated to try and rescue Clemson and Florida State from the ACC? Or does his relationship with Disney and ESPN, is it such that he's like, yeah, I mean, look, we're all on the same team here, and you guys are just going to have to be team players and stay in the ACC. Sorry, I can't do anything for you. Because if the ACC schools want to go, if Clemson wanted to go to the Big Ten and was trying to leverage their way out of this deal, I don't think it would be allowed. But if Clemson wants to get to the SEC, it would be something if the ACC was, or the ESPN or Disney says, ACC teams, you guys can leave if and only if you go to the SEC. So you guys that get SEC invites, you can leave, but everybody else, you got to stay. Sorry. So then Clemson, Florida State, I would say Miami and Virginia Tech probably are the first four that the SEC would want if they want to get to 20. Those four can leave the ACC, but everybody else has to stay. I don't know how it would work. But Greg Sankey has a lot of leverage here probably if he wants to help. And I'd wonder how Greg Sankey and Kevin Warren look at each other right now. I'm sure there's some sort of mutual respect because they're both conquerors at this point. They're just conquering college football. Are they enemies? Does Greg Sankey say, well, this is the guy that's my direct competition? And of course they are. But is it, I hate this guy. They keep trying to steal schools. We're about to go fight for Oregon. We both want Phil Knight in our conference. We're going to fight for Washington, whatever brands there are. Are they saying, let's team up and crush the Pac-12. Let's team up and crush the Big 12. And then all we've got to worry about is the ACC after that. Because the Big 12 is in a position right now where they might be expanding, which I'll get to. But I'm curious about just, do they talk? Have they ever talked, Kevin Warren, Greg Sankey, about this? Do they look at each other as enemies? Or do they look at each other as allies and saying, we're on opposite sides here, but together we are going to forever change the sport of college football. And our
superpowers activate.
Yeah. Like that could be, I mean, if these people at this level definitely care about their egos and they care about their legacies. And if Greg Sankey and Kevin Warren together create the super conferences that end college football, I mean, that, or not end college football, but end college football's relationship with the NCAA.
Yep.
And they say, we're doing our own thing now. I mean, what a legacy to leave.
But you know what? The
absurd.
NCAA has really started to make that happen, with how they've messed so many things up that, it kind of serves them right.
I've been trying to think of the way that I could have come in here and made the angle. NIL led to this. I always, because every time something bad happens now, we blame NIL because
Exactly.
it's just the easy thing to blame. But I can't come up with that case. I was trying to make that case somehow, some way.
No,
Papa
NCAA
Joe's-
did it to themselves.
Yeah, for sure. So Darby says SEC now needs to go get Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and Notre Dame. I don't think they're going to get Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame has to be in the Big Ten, and I don't want Notre Dame, honestly. For the sake of college football, yeah, sure. If it's like, if we're gonna wear SEC T-shirts and say I'm Team SEC, do you have to be Team SEC or Big Ten? Of course, we have to be Team SEC because South Carolina. But for the sake of college football, I want to keep it somewhat regional. I want Notre Dame in the same conference as Southern Cal. That's a rivalry. I want Notre Dame to have to play Ohio State every year because I need Notre Dame humbled every year.
Yep.
I want Notre Dame in the Big Ten footprint They're right outside Chicago. They need to be there. The SEC, we've got Texas and Oklahoma. They're not in the Southeast. They're in the Southwest or right in the middle, but still close enough that you can just kind of lump them in.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Cal and UCLA, that makes no sense. So when you say, what else do we want? Like, I just want Florida State, Miami. I want them. I'll take Virginia Tech. I'll take Clemson, of course. And then let the Big Ten start going west. They can have Washington. They can have Oregon, because I want those teams to continue playing Southern Cal and UCLA as well. They can have those two. They can have Notre Dame. Perfect. I'll take that.
And see, and also from a personal standpoint, if I've got to wear something that has SEC logos on it, that means I have to have. That means I would have to don a Notre Dame logo, and
oh yeah,
I was raised. I can't do that. Mm-mm. So it's truly all about me.
They're a perfect fit in the Big Ten anyway.
No, they really are.
Like it just they don't belong in the SEC
in every way.
Yeah, academically, geographically,
yep,
the way they treat sports. Yeah, so no, Notre Dame, Darby, I think needs to go to
It'd be a great
the Big Ten. Yeah, but Florida State, Miami, Clemson are the natural ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then who's the fourth? I think it would be Virginia Tech, but that changes things. Day says no South Carolina person should want Clemson anywhere near the SEC. Doesn't matter what we want anymore, though.
Yeah.
Papa Joe says, why would Clemson want to go to the SEC? They have a cakewalk every year.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah. So this is what I mentioned in the first hour. I'll repeat this. So what this could mean is if we are going to 2 super conferences and the ACC is just going to be the ACC, but the SEC gets up to 20 teams and the Big Ten gets up to 20 teams, and all of the major brands in college football outside of the ACC are in these 2 conferences, there's no way they're going to continue doing the college football playoff as presently constructed. Greg Sankey has already threatened to leave and say, we're not doing the college football playoff. We're doing our own playoff. We're going to do our own thing over here. You guys do what you want over there, but we're going to have an SEC only playoff. That all of a sudden becomes a lot more viable if, like I said, do Greg Sankey and Kevin Warren want to change college football forever? If Greg Sankey and Kevin Warren get on a call and say, look, we're out of the college football playoff. We're not obligated to be a part of this. You're not obligated to be a part of this. We're done with it. You should be done with it too. We're going to do our own playoff. You do your own playoff. We'll have the two 10-team divisions. We'll get 20 teams. We'll have an SEC East and SEC West. Best team from each one, just like it used to be, will play each other. The winner of that will play your conference champion. Have a Big Ten tournament. Have an SEC tournament. It can be 8 teams making the SEC playoff. It can be as simple as the old school SEC East winner, SEC West winner. You can do you can do your own SEC playoff with 4 teams. You can have 2 games, whatever. I don't care. But I don't think we're too far from saying, yeah, we're going to do the SEC champion versus the Big Ten champion will be the national champion. And the ACC, sure, you can put 2 teams in the college football playoff from the ACC and play them against a group of 5 teams and call yourself the college football playoff champion. But no one's going to look at you as the national champion. No one's going to respect that championship. So it is interesting. And Day says Clemson also brings almost no media market whatsoever. That's more important than any other thing a school can bring. It used to be. And I don't know, people don't talk about college sports in Maryland, so I don't even know if this is going to be discussed on like DC radio this morning, but Maryland got lucky. They got lucky about their market because they joined the Big Ten at a time where media markets did matter. And they wanted that Washington, DC market, that top 10 market. They wanted Rutgers so they could get the number 1 market in New York City, but it doesn't matter now. The Big Ten network's going to be irrelevant. It's not going to be through Fox. They're talking to Apple right now. If Apple signs a $1 billion annual deal, $1 billion annually with the Big Ten, they're not going to care about the media markets. They're just going to care how many people are going to watch the game. Tuscaloosa is not a very good media market, but people put on Alabama games. Oxford, Mississippi, Starkville, Mississippi, Auburn, Alabama, Fayetteville, Arkansas. These are not media markets. But they watch games and they fill stadiums. And that's what matters. And that's why the SEC is different. The Big Ten now owns the top 4 media markets. But that's really not all that important anymore. So what Clemson brings from TV viewership, from buzz and hype and being in the championships, Clemson's an SEC school. They operate as if they're an SEC school. And then how many names does it take for the name Big Ten to be ridiculous? Oh, it's already ridiculous. I do wonder if this gets crazy. If the SEC goes out there and says we want Washington and Oregon. The Pac-12's gone. We want Washington and Oregon. We want to get to the West Coast. Do we change the name? How upset would you be if the SEC expanded to 20-something teams and then got rid of the name SEC and just named themselves like the Super Conference? I don't know. I don't know what the name would be, but Big Ten's going to have to change. But they're also they're in love with the idea of the name Big Ten. But now we're at 16, and it's already been ridiculous. And it was ridiculous that the Pac-12 was the only conference that actually had the amount of schools. Now the Pac-12 has 10, so maybe they go back to the Pac-10, or maybe they just cease to exist altogether. And now the Big 12 lost Texas and Oklahoma. They were down to 8, but they added 4, so now they're actually at 12. So the Big 12 is the only team with 12 teams. But also the Big 12 is in the most advantageous position outside of the two super conferences to stay alive here because they have a media rights deal that they're negotiating. They've just expanded a little bit, and they might be able to go in there and grab the Arizonas. They might be able to grab Colorado. They might be able to grab Utah and make their own little decent conference. It won't be anything special, but it'll be a conference that can make a lot of money and still be relevant. Yeah, lot of avenues we can go down this morning. We got another hour to do it, another hour 45 to do it, actually. You're listening to The Early Game, 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And we do have a few accidents to let you know about this morning. I-26 westbound at the Broad River Road Ballantyne exit. Of course, that's exit 101. So again, I-26 westbound right there at exit 101. We do have a report of an accident. A disabled vehicle could get people to be looking and so slowing things down a little bit. That's I-26 westbound before exit 97. And we are going to see some rain in the forecast, kind of picking back up again after lunchtime. And then we'll have scattered showers and storms throughout the day and or afternoon and evening. 82 for the high. Some isolated storms tomorrow. 90 for the high. Stay in the low 90s through Monday. Again, just those chances of some scattered storms. Right now, it's 75 at 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. The 2028 Los Angeles Olympics is entertaining bids from sports that are on the bubble for inclusion. We may or may not see baseball and softball. Their relatively large roster sizes push against a hard cap of 15,500 total athletes. Meantime, according to the Wall Street Journal, cheerleading, cricket, flag football, and lacrosse proponents are making their pitches. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio. You can unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash out refinance today. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. And with Rocket Mortgage, you can unlock thousands in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up. So when you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started.
Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
O'Reilly. Change your vehicle's oil before your summer road trip and save money now with Pennzoil and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic for just $22.95 after mail-in rebate. Save money and protect your engine against sludge and wear with the synthetic oil change. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. Taco Bell is the place for breakfast. Why? Because there's a new Bell breakfast box. This one features their breakfast quesadilla and comes with Cinnabon Delights, a hash brown, and even a coffee. Get your Bell breakfast box today at a participating Taco Bell location near you.
Real people are getting real and lasting pain relief at QC Kinetics.
Who would have thought that I would be in better shape now than after I got out of the Marines at 22? It's great to be active again.
I've played 36 holes multiple days in a row without pain. Everything is great.
Are you tired of living with chronic joint pain? QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged tissue, natural healing agents from your own body, so your body can heal itself the way it was designed, with no pain pills, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Thanks to QC Kinetics, quality of life is just a lot better.
Definitely changed my life.
Call now to see if regenerative medicine could be the answer you've been looking for. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics have proven protocols that can give you lasting relief now, and the consultation is free.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert. And that's bad news for home title thieves.
So the problem with a company like Home Title Lock is that they can get me in the middle of the crime, and that's your worst fear.
Are you already a victim? Find out today with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value, free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
So, Shredder's Towing. You tow it all? Big or small?
Yep, big or small.
Is that all?
No, we also haul.
Haul what?
What do you got? We can tow.
Yeah. But, yeah, Southern Cal, I mean, there's not even an option of driving. Yeah, you're just not going to be able to get to those games very often. Morning, Hope. Morning, Anthony. Morning, Robin.
Old timey here.
Of the day. On October 12, 2019, the Gamecock football team took the field in Athens, Georgia as whopping 24-point underdogs to third-ranked Georgia. Keyed by a monster day from cornerback Israel Mukuamu, Carolina found itself in this position in the second overtime. Here are Todd and Tommy.
Blankenship will attempt a 42-yard field goal. He's had one blocked on the day. Plenty of distance for him. He's got in this gearbox. But Carolina's blocked. Blankenship looks, nods, says he's ready to take it to the third overtime. Kicks it up. And no good! He missed it! And the Gamecocks win it in Athens in second overtime. Carolina takes down number 3, Georgia. They win it 20-17. I am not believing that. A 2 overtime victory against the number 3 team in the country. We break a 4-game losing streak, and Georgia trots to the locker room.
And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market, with 3 locations: Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irmo.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's
30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years.
Number 13, running back Deuce Staley.
Leaping Staley touchdown. Staley attended Airport High School in West Columbia and was an all-state wide receiver, while also playing some running back, quarterback, and defensive back. His senior year at South Carolina, Staley finished 13th in the nation in rushing with 1,116 rushing yards. Edwards has an angle on him. Down at the 13-yard line is Deuce Staley, 36 yards. Staley led the team in receptions as well. He was just the third Gamecock to ever be named first-team All-SEC.
Staley leaps for the touchdown.
In 2 seasons, Staley rushed for 1,582 career yards and caught 59 passes for 489 yards. Deuce Staley is going to score from 51 yards. Deuce was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 3rd round of the 1997 NFL Draft.
Number 13, running back Deuce Staley. It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
The Game.
Here.
There you go. Very popular player. Deuce Staley, running back. Number 12 in the top 30.
And Patrick, did you know that he was a co-host with Jay
I
Phillips?
did. I heard also in the promo that there's a special guest on the halftime show today.
That may be answering our question.
So, yes.
Could be.
I do feel bad because Deuce is very popular. I feel bad, one, that Bill's not here today because I was barely alive when Deuce was at South Carolina. He played in 95.
You were hanging out by Fred, or?
Yeah, I was less than, he played in 95 and 96. I was born in 95, so I missed his first year.
So you were
And the
very
second
young.
year. Yes, I missed his first year because I was not born yet. The second year, I didn't pay much attention when I was
Probably not.
when I was 8 months old.
That's all right.
But I do remember him as an Eagle. I remember him pretty well as an Eagle. He was there for a long time, 6-7 years, and then Steelers after that won a championship there. Really prolific in his 2 years at South Carolina. He had 8 touchdowns, 236 yards receiving on top of his 736 yards rushing. So just under 1,000 all-purpose yards his first year in just 11 games, and then his second year, 1,116 yards and 9 touchdowns, 10 receiving touchdowns his first year, or 10 touchdowns from scrimmage and 9 his sophomore year or second year. So, yeah, I don't know much about him as a South Carolina player. I know he's a local guy. Airport High School, of course, has been a great representative of the university, comes back and has been really successful in the NFL, both as a player for his almost 10-year career and as a coach recently. He's been on a rocket ship, really. I mean, starting with the Eagles as the running backs coach and then became, I think, an assistant head coach. And when they went through the coaching change before Nick Sirianni was hired, he was the interim head coach for a little while, I believe. And now he's in Detroit and went with Dan Campbell to Detroit, and he's the assistant head coach there. He's been really, really good. Just seems like an awesome guy, really successful. And I think he's going to find himself probably as an NFL head coach before long. Steven says, I think it's time he needs to be an NFL head coach.
Yep.
I think a lot of people agree. He got interviews in the last cycle. He'll continue to get interviews. Hopefully the Lions can have some success this year for the sake of those fans and for the sake of Deuce Staley's future. But again, this is a morning where Bill should have been here because this was like right when he was, I guess, heading into college, high school years. This was perfect. Right in that perfect area where you're approaching your most passionate as a fan. So Deuce Staley, of course, Super Bowl champion, longtime pro, current coach in the NFL. I think you might hear from him today. I don't want to make any promises, but absolutely deserving of being on this list. I don't think anyone's going to debate that one. Mm-hmm. And if you've got Deuce Staley memories,
absolutely, we'd love to hear
him because I don't know him.
I don't know anything about his time at South Carolina. So 803-404-6100 if you want to call and mention it. If you want to just text in a memory, a great run, a great game he played that you remember, just any little tidbit about him. We'll try and give Deuce his shine today, but it is also a very, very, very newsy day. So Southern Cal and UCLA joining the Big Ten. We'll get back into what that means. We got some text to get through. There's a lot of conversation to be had about this, and it's not stopping anytime soon. So hour and a half left. The second half of the program is going to kick off when we get back. You're listening to the early game. It's 107.5 Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's
30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years.
Number 30, quarterback Steven Garcia.
Gamecocks win. Garcia with a brilliant game.
Number 29, running back Mike Davis.
That Georgia fella can run. Good gracious.
Number 28, defensive back J.C. Horn.
Now Nick throws into traffic, and it's intercepted. There's J.C. Horn again making a play.
Number 27, wide receiver Brian Edwards.
And with that touchdown reception of 23 yards, Brian Edwards has become the all-time leader in receiving yards at South Carolina.
Number 26, defensive back Sheldon Brown.
Reese swings it out to Bush, and the ball is knocked away, and an incomplete pass, and a crunching hit put on by Sheldon Brown. And Bush takes a while to get up.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass. A
I
truly
love that.
shepherdsglass.com.
And a few times to let you know about in Elgin, Cherokee Boulevard at Bowen Street. Also have a report of an accident, I-26 westbound at mile marker 101. And on I-77 northbound at Killian Road, we do have an accident there. So be careful. Some random showers and thunderstorms this afternoon and this evening, a high of 82. Right now, though, it's a little bit cloudy at 75. 107.5.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. The education assistance I received made it possible for me to be the first person in my family to go to school and graduate debt-free. That education helped get me to the first day at my dream job, a job that I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job, plus the other benefits possible from the Army National Guard, helped me become a first-time homeowner. Also, part of my role as a National Guard soldier means I know that I can be one of the first to respond and help my community if disaster ever strikes. I'm extremely proud that I get to serve my community, and that first step I took by joining the Army National Guard has made all the difference in my life. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com to find out what firsts are available to you in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the South Carolina Army National Guard. Aired by the South Carolina Broadcasters Association and this station.
Yeah, Shredder's Towing. You tow it all, big or small?
Yep, big or small.
Is that all?
No, we also haul.
Haul what?
What do you got? We can tow big tractor trailers, heavy equipment, oversized cargo, buses, campers, motor coaches, forklifts. We don't care what it is. So if you need it moved, Schroeder's can do it. Any more questions?
No, that was haul.
Schroeder's Towing. Call the best hookers and now haulers in town. Nearly 1,300 five-star Google reviews. 803-772-7930. Online at schroederstowing.com.
Schroeder's Towing, Columbia's finest and fastest hookers in town.
If you suffer from joint pain, from arthritis, or an injury, you know the traditional treatments, pain meds and steroids, and then surgery, right? Hey, it's Bill Gunner with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots shots are toxic to your joints, pain meds are addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out, and the new ways are in. Regenerative medicine can restore and repair damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics Regenerative Protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Call now and schedule your free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
All right, you're up.
And 6:35 on a Friday morning. We just brought you number 12 on the top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era, Deuce Staley. But the main topic of discussion this morning is obviously the realignment in college football that's happening. What does it mean? Where's it headed? Southern Cal, UCLA, now members of the Big Ten, and a lot of thoughts to get to on the text line. I do like this text. Do you see the SEC or Big Ten trading out teams or just evicting them? What does the Big Ten get from Northwestern? The SEC from Vandy? Would the Big Ten rather have Kansas instead of Nebraska? Would the SEC rather have Oklahoma State than Missouri? I don't know if I'm sure there's a contract. I don't think they can just kick them out. But what do they get from them? I mean, Northwestern props up the Big Ten academically. It's in Chicago. Vanderbilt does the same for the SEC, and it's in Nashville. So big cities, big markets. And I said earlier, TV markets aren't all that important anymore because we're going to streaming. But it's still good to have a foothold in these big cities. I don't think those schools are going anywhere. And plus, you do need teams that are essentially easy wins every year. Like every conference can't be, unless we get to the level where it's just basically professional and then we've got a salary cap, we've got a draft, and a way to add parity. In a sport like college football, there have to be those teams. You need wins on the schedule, and Vanderbilt, everybody in the SEC looks at as their win. Without Vanderbilt, there's no game that South Carolina can look at on the SEC schedule and say, well, that's a win right there. So will they start evicting teams? I don't think so. But I do just wonder, because that texter is a West Virginia fan. He's worried about getting left. I wonder how many teams have to be worried about not finding a home. And in the big picture, where we're headed, what happens to the teams without a home? If I was Oregon State, I'd be pretty worried right now. I don't know where I'm going to end up. Does anybody want Oregon State? The Big Ten doesn't. Why would they want them? What's in Corvallis, Oregon? I don't think anything. Oregon, that's a big brand. I don't think Oregon fans are worried right now. I don't know what Phil Knight's doing today, but I'm pretty sure he's calling up Kevin Warren and Greg Sankey saying, who wants me? Both of them want Oregon, I'm sure. Having the Nike school would go a pretty long way. I don't know that there's an Adidas school, but if the Big Ten gets Oregon too, then they've got the Nike school. They've got the Under Armour school in Maryland already. That's meaningful, somewhat. Washington, just having the Pacific Northwest, getting Oregon and Washington, the Big Ten securing just another region. I don't know where this ends. I really don't. Is it going to be the SEC expanding up the Atlantic coast and the Big Ten expanding down the Pacific coast? It's going to be interesting. But as it is this even good? Is it good for Southern Cal and UCLA to be the only two California schools in a Midwest conference? Will that help? What does Lincoln Riley think this morning? Is he thinking, thank goodness we're in a real conference now? I don't know. Is Lincoln Riley really excited about all the money? As far as he's concerned, they've got all the money in the world because they just bought him a house and gave him a boatload of money. So what does he care? Is he just bummed that his schedule is going to get harder now in 2 years? That he's got Malachi Nelson, the number 2 quarterback in the country, recruited next year, and that kid's going to end up having to play in the Big Ten? It's a lot more difficult than having to play in the Pac-12. Lincoln Riley's going to have to be flying all across the country every week in the fall. Is he thinking, am I going to go have to recruit the Midwest now and say, hey, you can still play. Your family can come to your games and drive to your games except for the home ones, and you can live in LA? So you have to waste his time doing that? What's it mean for recruiting? Does it mean that Wisconsin can go into Southern California and get kids now and say, hey, look, we're going to play in California every year, whether it's you or UCLA? Southern Cal or UCLA, we're going to play in California every year. I have no idea what this means for recruiting. I know it's easier for Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC because most schools are already going into Texas. And it's easier for Texas to say, look, stay home. We've been telling you to stay home. But now when you stay home, you get to play in the SEC. I know in the past, kids from Texas, you guys would want to go to maybe LSU. You'd want to go to Alabama. You'd want to go to A&M because you want to play in the SEC. You want to play against the best. You want to be in the best conference. Well, now we're in it. So go ahead and stay home. It's already paying dividends for Texas. Oklahoma doesn't have much competition in the state of Oklahoma. It's basically them and Oklahoma State, and they get first dibs. California is just a totally different animal, though. I don't know what it means. It's just very weird. Yeah, and Trey texting in, their schedule is also going to kick off at 9 a.m. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's big. If Southern Cal is playing Ohio State on big noon kickoff, it's a 9 a.m. kick. Not that we haven't seen that already. Oregon did it last year. Oregon played in Columbus at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. body clock time. And in that game, they were without Kayvon Thibodeau. They beat Ohio State. So it's happened. But is it going to become commonplace? Do Los Angeles college football fans need to get used to waking up at 9 a.m.? If you're an overall college football fan, you probably are already because you're going to watch big noon kickoff. You're watching the noon SEC games. They're probably already waking up for 9 a.m. kicks. How's it going to change when that happens? And all their home games, I assume, will not be at 9 a.m. But what if Southern Cal's hosting big noon kickoff? I'm assuming big noon kickoff is going to cease to exist because they're going to leave Fox, or in large part leave Fox. Maybe Fox retains the big noon kickoff property. I don't really know. Just a lot of layers of this, and we'll keep getting into it. 803-404-6100. That's the number to the Love Chevrolet phone lines and the Cool Care Heat and Air text lines. We'll wrap up hour number 2 when we come back. It's the early game, 107.5 game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Game Time.
Hey, Ray, hang on for
Hey, it's Heath.
Will
Kevin Durant join the Big Ten? Is Kyrie Irving being traded for Deshaun Watson? There's just too much sports. There's too much. We'll talk about it at 3.
Game Time with Heath Klein.
3 to 6 p.m.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5
The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And still working some earlier accidents. I-77 northbound at Killian Road Also, I-26 westbound at mile marker 101, an accident there, still causing a little bit of a tie-up. We do have a report of a disabled vehicle that could be impacting traffic flow. I-26 westbound, front exit 97. And in the Elgin area, Cherokee Boulevard at Bowen Street. Showers and storms will be on your plate for really the rest of the day, at least after lunchtime and through this evening. 82 for the high. And then we get low 90s going through July 4th. Isolated storms possible each day. Right now, though, it's overcast. 76. 107.5 the game.
Sponsored by Family Dollar. At Family Dollar, we know you want more to enjoy your summer. That's why you'll find more in every store. From grilling supplies and beach toys at great value to refreshing deals on your favorite soft drinks. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Life matters. Martin Lloyd-Jones was one of the greatest minds in the history of the church. As pastor of the Westminster Chapel in London, he's known around the world for his Christian statesmanship. In 1904, a revival of amazing proportions was taking place in Wales. News of it spread around the world, and Dr. Lloyd-Jones wanted his daughter to experience Christianity of that sort firsthand. She agreed, so he removed her from school and allowed her to go experience that revival in Wales. As you might expect, he was criticized for interrupting his daughter's education. His response? She can always go to school, but she may never see another revival like this one. It sounds to me like Dr. Lloyd-Jones knew the most important thing in life is to get into the presence of God. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty from Christian Life on Bush River Road in Columbia. Join us in God's presence this Sunday, and remember, life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain, but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. QC Kinetics, 281-6860.
Looking good, Mrs. Dub.
The head groundskeeper at Thad's Golf Course just retired.
We need to find someone in the next 2 weeks. Someone with botany and management experience.
He needs a replacement because the greens are already looking a little rough.
Aeration. They need to know it all.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone. More details at AutoZone.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game.
Patrick Barrett and Jen Jensen.
On your home of the Gamecocks, the early game.
107.5 The Game.
You're up.
And wrapping up hour number 2, the Friday edition of the early game. About an hour to go before we get you into the 4th of July weekend. Do some grilling this weekend. Some hot dogs, hamburgers. Watch the hot dog eating contest. Some fireworks. Hopefully the weather permits.
Can you Are you able to eat hot dogs after watching the hot dog eating contest, or do you have to have separation? No
Oh,
problem.
yeah. In a lot of ways, it makes me want to eat hot dogs more.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it is gross to watch them eat them that way.
Yeah.
But that Nathan's commercials in between, the B-roll of like a nice charred hot dog. I don't think they eat the hot dogs I would like. I don't know how they're cooked.
Don't they just boil them?
I would assume that they're boiled because you can make a lot more of them that way. And
Yeah.
they make it quick and they break easily. But
And that's how we do it, because I worked for a radio station in Lafayette, Indiana. It was Classic Rock station up there, and we actually did, in conjunction with one of the grocery stores, we did a hot dog eating contest. And besides all of the waivers and all of the legalities of everything, and then trying to figure out the logistics and whatever, it was interesting. But yeah, that's how we did them, is we boiled them, and they even steamed the buns. So maybe that might have helped. I don't know that they do that for the official thing, but it's
I
kind of
think
interesting.
I think they want the buns just dippable so they can dip them in their drink, get them soggy, and stuff them down their throats.
Mhm.
It's pretty gross how they do it.
It is. But I do like a good hot dog with good stuff on it.
I mean, I just need that. I love a grilled hot dog that's got the burns all over it. I want any, whether it's hot dog, bacon, anything pork, I'm going to want it like as burnt as possible. So
See, I'm kind of like you. I like them, char them up a little bit on there. That's good stuff.
Is Ray still on the phone?
He is.
All right, before we get at hour number 2, let's get out to the left show phone lines. Ray is on the phone. Ray, how you doing this morning?
Hey, good, Patrick. I'll tell you, this conference reaffiliation, sometimes we can say, these things, kind of like these 3.5s, 3.6 trimmers we've been having in the area. But this thing is seismic. I mean, this is more like a 5.8 to a 6.8. I mean, this is, or even maybe, in the 7s, like the Great Quake of San Francisco. I think this is seismic. It's going to change everything. It goes to show you the money in college football. It's amazing. But I came up with the biggest winner and the biggest loser.
Okay.
I really think Clemson. This is really
what the commercials
it's going to force their hand, I believe. And I'm sure they'll have options, and I'm sure that their old school fans will want them to join the SEC because that would revitalize that rivalry with Georgia. I mean, back in the day, Patrick, that was Clemson's Super Bowl. When they played back in the 70s and the 80s every year, that was their game, because the ACC, still to this day, I believe, I mean, they tried to do the football thing, and I think Florida State failed them miserably. By the way, they've tanked in the last 5 to 6 years. I think that's what's really hurt that conference, if you ask me. But the ACC was like the Big East before the Big East. I mean, they are basketball. Other than Clemson, I mean, being from the greater Landover area, Maryland up there, the ACC basketball was just king. And it still is in the state of North Carolina. But I think the biggest winner, Patrick, I think it's the University of Miami, because they're pumping a lot more money in the program. They got Cristobal as their coach. I mean, they can sit right there, and you can best believe the SEC and the Big Ten are like coming after them for that market, for their name, and for the fact they kind of got an upbeat going. I think right now, to me, I think they're more desirable than Florida State, if you ask me. But hey, thanks for letting me chime in. Yeah. But Clemson will no longer have that easy to 8 to 9 wins a year, and I'm not criticizing them, because they are an absolute juggernaut power, and they figured out how to do it in a basketball conference. But I think right now they're a little like, oh God, what's going to happen next? And I think right now Miami is really nice. But anyway, like to see what everybody else got to say.
Thanks, Ray. So to his last point, he thinks Miami is more desirable than Florida State. I don't know that I disagree with that. I don't know the inner workings or the athletic budgets or things like that, but obviously Miami's got the funding behind them and John Ruiz, the billionaire who's ready to pay players millions of dollars a year. But just the whole logistically, that's gonna be an hour 3 discussion. What really can the ACC teams do? Like, if I said the biggest winners and the biggest losers, the biggest winner is Kevin Warren, the commissioner of the Big Ten, because this is a legacy move for him. The biggest loser is George Kliavkoff, the new commissioner of the Pac-12, because his conference is going to cease to exist. Now, the ACC is a basketball conference. Agreed. That's why I was bummed when Maryland left, because I grew up a Maryland basketball fan. Watching them play Duke, North Carolina, Virginia every year was awesome. But Clemson's a football school and a basketball conference. The problem is that basketball conference is under contract until 2035, 2036 season. I don't know what is going to be able to happen there. We can speak hypothetically, and this can be the question leading into hour number 3. Do you want, if and when Clemson joins the SEC, does that make you happy as a South Carolina? Specify that you're a South Carolina or a Clemson fan. If you're a Clemson fan, do you want to join the SEC? If you're a South Carolina fan, will you be bummed when Clemson joins the ACC? The only reason I see for a South Carolina fan to be upset about it is because it's our special thing. We're the SEC school. That makes us more special than Clemson. When Clemson's in the SEC too, what do we hold over them? We're the flagship school. That'd probably be it.
Yeah.
Make fun of them for being taters, farmers, whatever jokes that South Carolina fans make to Clemson fans. But it seems inevitable. And if you're a Clemson fan, the only reason that you want to stay in the ACC is because it's easy.
Well, that's the whole thing. I think it'll be a very humbling thing for them. Will they be competitive? Oh, absolutely, but not to the. I just think it'll be so different. I honestly would like to watch maybe one season of it. I don't want them in the SEC, but wouldn't it be fun just to have a season where you can just watch and just really be able to gauge their talent?
Well, and it's
competitiveness.
Long term, when the college football playoff is not going to be what it is now, there's going to be multiple teams. It's not going to be 12-0 teams playing each other. You're not going to have as many 12-0 teams. When this happens and you've got super conferences and Clemson's playing Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, like all in the same seasons, you're not going to have undefeated teams. There's going to be probably more parity in the sport, and maybe you have a 10-2 team against a 9-3 team in the SEC championship competing to go play against the Big Ten champion. So I wouldn't expect it to be like that, and I don't know what the postseason format's going to be, but if Clemson, as a Clemson fan, you're saying, I want to stay in the ACC because I want the easiest path to college football playoff, I think that might be pretty short-sighted, because the college football playoff could cease to exist and the Big Ten and SEC could say, we're doing our thing. We'll see all you losers later. Go have your own little tournament and no one will care.
Mm-hmm.
You think Ohio State versus Texas or Southern Cal versus Alabama in the Big Ten SEC national championship game, after Alabama just beat Texas or beat LSU for the SEC title, playing Ohio State, who just beat Southern Cal, or Michigan, who just beat UCLA for the national championship, that's going to be better than Clemson beating Big 12 champion Baylor in the college football playoff. So, yeah, it's just, you got to think long-term and big picture. I'm sure, I don't know what these athletic directors and presidents are doing, but it's got to be fascinating, the phone calls that are being made to everyone that's not by and to everyone that's not in the SEC or Big Ten right now. If you're not there, you're getting left behind. We'll talk more about it in hour number 3. Still a lot of more directions we can take this conversation. It's the early game. It's 107.5 a game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Pioneer Tree Service has more than 4 decades of helping homeowners maintain and manage trees on their property. Their skilled crew offers customized solutions that match your needs and budget. Tree trimming and tree removal can be dangerous. You need to trust the people that are doing the job. Before attempting to remove limbs, call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote. They remove limbs safely and make sure that future growth is directed away from potential trouble areas such as roof lines and driveways. Cutting down trees takes more than a chainsaw. Even branches can weigh thousands of pounds, and their removal must be handled with care. Pioneer Tree Service offers a full complement of state-of-the-art heavy equipment, from track hose to bucket trucks to safely remove trees and stumps from your property. And no matter where you live, the Gantt girls can get there. And I want you to call them at 803-794-8253.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FREE for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's promo code FREE. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FREE for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code FREE for a $5 bonus.
If you suffer from joint pain, from arthritis, or an injury, you know the traditional treatments, pain meds and steroids, and then surgery, right? Hey, it's Bill Gunner with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots are toxic to your joints, pain meds are addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out, and the new ways are in. Regenerative medicine can restore and repair damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics Regenerative Protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Call now and schedule your free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
But we have a horse costume that we get in. I need somebody for the rear end. How about it, Bill? Come on over.
He's the rear end of the show every morning.
Patrick Perez.
There's a 0% chance that I will have a full wedding.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for your.
There's a 0% chance that will happen.
The future Mrs. Perrette to put her foot down and
she can try. My feet are bigger. Guaranteed.
And Jen Jensen.
William Byron referring to Joey Logano, Jen, as a moron and an idiot.
Yeah, standard.
Vocabulary straight out of the Jen Jensen playbook right there when not happy with how something ends.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Yep.
Kicking off hour number 3 before we send you in to a 3-day weekend. We celebrate Independence Day on Monday. Been a busy show. Try and reset as much as I can this year, or this hour. So, top 30 Gamecocks. Number 12 today, Deuce Staley. If you want to talk about Deuce, I don't have many stories because I was a year old when he played here. Not even a year old. So number 12 is Deuce Staley, currently assistant head coach for the Detroit Lions, had a really successful NFL career. Great player for the Eagles and Steelers, Super Bowl champion. Did great things as Eagles assistant coach and is now with Detroit, where he's right-hand man to Dan Campbell. I think he'll be an NFL coach in due time. But we're honoring him today. If you've got any stories, 803-404-6100. That is the number to the Love Chevrolet phone line and the Cool Gear Heating and Air text line again, 803-404-6100. Come join us on the live stream. Got a pretty active live stream this morning. It's on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Just find us at 107.5 The Game if you're on YouTube. Click and subscribe. You can join in the comments. The big story, though. Yeah.
But I have to say before, if you're on the live stream, you'll notice that Patrick has a notebook, like a journal that, you're keeping notes in, which, and I think that's fantastic. But it almost looks like, because it looks like it's brown, leather bound. It almost is like, okay, we're going to sit down and it's going to be story time. Yeah. Patrick Perrette, I keep thinking, what are you going to, am I going to hear a hey diddle diddle or,
Yeah. So I don't always use a notebook. I usually don't, but there was so much. I had to organize my thoughts. So I don't know if anybody can read this, but I've got like the top storylines, the overarching questions
That's awesome.
of like the Big 12 thing. So I'm like, what are the major questions? So this is what I'll pose to you, because if you've been living under a rock or you're just tuning in and didn't pay attention to the news yesterday, if you had a 24-hour slumber, you woke up today and found out that Southern Cal and UCLA are now members of the Big Ten. It was rumor yesterday afternoon. It is now fact today. And actually, let me pull up some of these statements, because the presidents and athletic directors voted on it yesterday in the Big Ten. They had a late meeting and it was announced. So here's the Pac-12 statement. While we are extremely surprised and disappointed by the news coming out of UCLA and USC today, we have a long and storied history in athletics, academics, and leadership in supporting student athletes that we're confident will continue to thrive and grow into the future. The Pac-12 is home to many of the world's best universities, athletic programs, and alumni, representing one of the most dynamic regions in the United States. We've long been known as the Conference of Champions, and we're unwavering in our commitment to extend that title. We will continue to develop new and innovative programs that directly benefit our member institutions, and we look forward to partnering with current and potential members to pioneer the future of college athletics together. So that's not going to happen. They're not the Conference of Champions. Stanford does have the most championships. I saw that on the Big Ten Network yesterday. Stanford has the most championships across all sports. Stanford's still in the Conference of Champions, but they won't be for long, because that conference won't exist for long. I don't see a way that the Pac-12 survives. Larry Scott put the nail in their coffin, whatever it was, 20 years ago when he negotiated that terrible media rights deal. Screwed over the next person to take the job. George Kliavkoff takes the job, and he's rewarded by losing his most valuable two properties. Can't have a Pac-12 without the city of Los Angeles. Doesn't work. So what's next? Are we just going to gut the Pac-12? What is George Kliavkoff doing today is also what I'm very curious about. Is he just laying in bed still? Oh, it's 4 a.m., so maybe he is still laying in bed. But is he just going to curl up in bed all day and eat cookie dough and watch sad movies and act like he just got dumped? Because he did. I mean, he did just get dumped. But he's probably rich. Is he just going to take the money and say, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not rebuilding the Pac-12. It's impossible. It's done. Can't do it without Southern Cal. Can't do it without UCLA. So are we just going to gut them and divvy them up? Is that what's going to happen? We'll say, look, you got 10 teams left. Oregon, Stanford, Washington, you guys go to the Big Ten. Take Notre Dame with you. That's your 20-team super conference right there. Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah. You guys go to the Big 12. Kind of regional anyway. It's already a Southwest. It's basically the Texas Conference. BYU's in there. Utah, you can have BYU. Colorado, I don't know. You can just go. And then where does that leave Washington State? Where does that leave Oregon State? Where does that leave California? Cal Berkeley. Who wants them? Cal Berkeley, I think, is like a relatively valuable property, but who wants them in sports? They're not any good. Jared Goff. That's what you want, Jared Goff. So I don't know. Are we going to divvy up the Pac-12? Is the Big 12 going to grow? Is the Big 12 going to pounce on this? Because the Big 12 is negotiating a TV rights deal, which pretty much influences all of this. So I think the biggest questions are what's next? Where's Notre Dame going? That's going to be a big one. Or what's Notre Dame doing? And is the ACC stuck? Is the big question. Because that's what's most relevant to South Carolina fans too. Because I was trying to think of the spin for South Carolina and what is a South Carolina fan thinking today. And conversations across the country are going to be different. I'm very curious to know what the conversation's like in LA this morning for the sports shows that are doing shows in Los Angeles talking about the Trojans and the Bruins. Are they fired up this morning? I don't know. I really don't know. How's Lincoln Riley feel this morning? What are the shows like in Columbus, Ohio? I assume they're pretty happy. The Big Ten's growing, I guess. But what are the conversations like in South Bend, Indiana? They're saying we got to do something. This money's going to be ridiculous. Did you hear the Big Ten's going to get $1 billion a year? We need that.
We need to move from South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah, that too. That too. Palo Alto, what are they saying? Should we just, I saw the Stanford Tree Twitter page said basically, F it, Stanford to the Ivy League. Now that's not going to happen, but where is Stanford going? It's just a lot to be figured out. There's a lot to be figured out here, and I don't know which direction to take it. But the South Carolina spin, the only thing I can think of is what's going to happen to Clemson. Because I've said this morning, and for those of you just tuning in, essentially the major question is, will ACC teams be able to get out of their media rights deal? They pay whatever their grant of rights fees are. They're too much right now because it's a 13-year contract left. So if Clemson and Florida State and Miami and Virginia Tech all together go to the ACC and say, we want out, go to ESPN and say, we want out, what's ESPN going to say? There's really two avenues. They can say, ha, you're funny. Contract's contract. We got you till 2035, 2036. You want to leave? We can talk about it in a decade. But if all this is being fast-tracked, then Greg Sankey might have to get involved. I don't know who has to get involved to say, look, we really need Clemson in the SEC. We really need Florida State in the SEC. We really need Miami in the SEC. We're already partnered with ESPN. ESPN, this will be good for you. Do you see the Big Ten? They just got Stanford. They just got Oregon. They just got Washington. They just got Notre Dame. They got 20 teams. And they just added 6 powerhouse brands to their conference. We need them. Without Clemson, without Florida State, without Miami, without Virginia Tech, we're not the number one conference anymore. What does ESPN do then? ESPN wants to have the rights to the best conference in college football. They want to have the most valuable property in college football. If the Big Ten becomes more valuable than the SEC, that's a problem for ESPN. So where does this leverage take them? That is the multi-billion-dollar question. And it's probably going to dominate most of this summer now because realignment dominated last summer. We talked about Texas and Oklahoma and what that was going to mean. In my little notebook here, I have the page where I drew up the permanent opponents list, my theoretical permanent opponents list. We've spent the last couple months talking about what are they going to do with scheduling. They just had the SEC meetings in Destin. SEC media days are coming up. We've talked about scheduling. Who are South Carolina's 3 permanent opponents going to be? Well, might as well just rip this page out of the notebook because the SEC can't be done. There's no way they can be done if the Big Ten's not done. And there's no way the Big Ten's done either. I mean, I saw that too. I saw from most college football reporters yesterday saying, expect more news. This is just the beginning.
And you wonder, like, how fast are dominoes going to start to fall? Like,
yeah,
are other things, have they already been brewing? So this is going to be a catalyst. And, is it going to be a busy summer with all of this?
Yeah. Are we going to come back Tuesday and the Big Ten's going to have 20 teams?
Yeah.
Are they going to be the Big 20? Because I
want to see the logo, Big 10, but it's a 20. Like,
I saw someone tweet yesterday. They've already basically got the logo. They just make it BI and then the 6 is the G. Because right now it's B1G and like the O is like inside the G, but they just make the G into a 6 and you can make it work.
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody's creative enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if we come back on Tuesday and Notre Dame's in the conference and Stanford's in the conference, then I don't know. And how are we going to do? Are they going to pair up teams and take them in pairs? Are we going one at a time here? Are we just going to announce 4 at once? Everybody needs their moment in the sun too.
I was going to say, and you've got to take them by 2.
You'd think so, yeah. Or it's got to be even numbers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would they say? I mean, if Notre Dame's not going to go, then they just say we want Oregon, we want Washington, we want Stanford and California. We want all the California. We want to completely own California, so we'll take Cal Berkeley, even though they're not very good. They're a good academic school. They fit what we do as a conference. They're good at other sports.
Are there 2 teams that pair up and say, hey, let's work a deal so that both of us get taken?
I think Oregon and Washington would do that because, I mean, Phil Knight's only worried about himself. But the speed of this I am really interested in because just like in bureaucracies, things move slow. There's a lot of things just people drag their feet. There's a lot of processes to go through, but this is a race for everyone's future. Like, if you don't join now, you could destroy your university for decades to come. I'm certain that Phil Knight and the athletic director at Oregon and the president of Oregon are not sitting on their hands right now saying, I wonder what's going to happen to the Pac-12. Let's let George Kliavkoff figure it out and we'll see. No, they're actively trying to figure out what they are going to do. And I think when Phil Knight, who's one of the most powerful men in the sports world, I mean, maybe he's the most powerful man in the sports world. I don't know. It's the most dominant clothing brand in the sport. So if Phil Knight wants something, he's probably going to get it. And everyone wants Phil Knight to be associated with their conference. So I don't think Phil Knight's sitting down today, strapping up his Nike shoes, getting on the phone with George Kliavkoff saying, hey, man, we love the Pac-12. I hope you can figure this out because we'd like to play in a good conference. So maybe go get Boise State. Can you go get Boise State? Can you go get Nevada? And that'll replace Southern Cal and UCLA. How about we do that? No, that's not going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see how fast it moves. But we'll continue this conversation coming up. We got to hit a break. We're listening to the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming
Very
up
clever,
on the
York.
Friday halftime
Very
show. First
clever.
day of July. We're getting there, kids. Closer to media days. Number 12 on the countdown. We got a surprise for you on the halftime show. So make sure you're here with us, especially around the second half of the program. But we will continue to talk about the bombshell news around college football, as at least college athletics, as Southern California and UCLA look to depart the Pac-12 for the Big Ten.
Now, it's all about big markets and getting schools from big markets, right, Jack?
Yes.
New York City's number one media market in the country, right?
It is.
I just found a school in New York City that has no conference affiliation. The Fashion Institute of Technology. Just saying.
You're a visionary.
The halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy
noon to 3
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
We have a report of a disabled vehicle, I-26 westbound before exit 97. That should be kind of out of the way and people not really slowing down to take a peek, hopefully. Also, I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, we have a ramp restriction there. Basically, there's a stall on that exit ramp. So if you're needing to get off at that exit, just kind of be prepared that there is a stalled vehicle there. Again, that's I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, that exit ramp. 82 for the high today, 90 tomorrow, 91 for Sunday and Monday. Showers and storms possible really through the next several days, but not just complete washouts. Just some scattered storms and showers are possible. Right now, though, 76, 107.5 The Game.
This Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Athletic Greens. One scoop of AG1 has 75 multivitamins to help you start your day off right. Go to athleticgreens.com/CBSAM. The Port Angeles Lefties of the West Coast League have a new center fielder. He's 33-year-old Golden Tate, who played baseball at Notre Dame before his 11-year NFL wide receiver career. Well, good luck to Golden. I'm Boomer Science.
CBS Sports Radio.
Dell's Black Friday and July sale is here. Power productivity with a tech refresh. Now with up to 45% off top-rated laptops like the XPS, along with our special deals on business desktops with Intel Core processors. Get big savings on the latest servers, storage, monitors, and more with free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his fourth. But you know what they say, fourth time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Sponsored by Midland Air Service Experts.
Sweating a broken AC? There's an expert for that.
Let your local experts at Midland Air Service Experts keep you cool with $50 off any repair. Call 866-EXPERTS. See website for license details.
If you suffer from joint pain, from arthritis, or an injury, you know the traditional treatments, pain meds and steroids, and then surgery, right? Hey, it's Bill Gunner with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots are toxic to your joints, pain meds are addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out, and the new ways are in. Regenerative medicine can restore and repair damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics regenerative protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Call now and schedule your free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money.
Mark, I saw these texts.
The music. Don't let...
While I was doing the segment. Come here, Polly. Come here. Come here. And I was trying not to get distracted for the sake of the radio audience. But yeah. She almost does look like a stuffed animal.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
$8:20 on a Friday morning, heading into July 4th weekend. Lot to talk about regarding this Big Ten expansion. Southern Cal and UCLA joining the conference. And we've been talking about what it means for the SEC, what it means for South Carolina, what it means for the ACC, for Clemson, Florida State. Is it inevitable that Florida State and Clemson are on their way to the SEC? Michael Texan says, how would the SEC adding Clemson and Florida State help a TV market deal? SEC already has the SC in Florida markets. The SEC already has the best TV markets for college football. For the Big Ten, I don't think getting Los Angeles market is a big deal. No one in LA watches college football. One, they definitely do. Southern Cal and UCLA have huge fan bases. So that's not really true. And as I said earlier, the Big Ten's in contract talks with Apple right now. Apple could care less what market you're in. So I think TV markets and looking at it that way in a lot of ways is going a thing of the past. It's about brands. Florida State's a brand. Clemson's a brand. Rather than having Florida State play NC State or Wake Forest, Florida State playing Alabama is just going to be a much bigger game. It's going to be a much more viewed game. Look in the NFL, there's small teams. It's teams in small markets that do big numbers. Pittsburgh's not as big of a market as Los Angeles, but Steelers games rate really well. The Packers are, Green Bay's a neighborhood. Packers games do really well. It's about brands. You got to get the brands in your conference. And who do you want next? I don't know who's available. That's the thing. So if the ACC is available and it's only what I suggested was possibly ESPN saying, look, we own the ACC. We're not losing ACC teams to the Big Ten. It's not going to we're not going to let it happen. Not until 2035, that is. But if you want to leave the ACC and you want to go join the SEC, fine. Go do it. So they give Clemson permission to leave. They give Florida State permission to leave. And anyone else the SEC wants. So who would the SEC want? Obviously those two. Obviously Miami. Do they want Virginia Tech? Say the SEC goes to 20 and everything's fair game. Everyone in the Pac-12 is fair game. Everyone in the Big 12 is fair game. Everyone in the ACC is fair game. Who would the four to round out the SEC be that you would want? I see a couple comments in the live stream saying, why don't we just scoop up Oregon? Mark says, why don't we scoop up Oregon? Seems smart. Or I've seen people discussing Oklahoma State. Do you want Oregon in the SEC? I don't know the answer to that for myself. I think in my perfect world, if the Big Ten got to 20 and the SEC got to 20, what I would want to see is the Big Ten adding 4 more teams for each conference. I would want to see the Big Ten add Notre Dame, Stanford, Oregon, and Washington. I'd want to see the SEC add Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and I'll give you Oklahoma State because I'd like to see Bedlam in the SEC every year. That'd be really cool. I love the Oklahoma State game. It's a lot of fun. Having that as an SEC game, having the Red River rivalry as an SEC game, that would be cool. Plus the Iron Bowl, the Egg Bowl, the Clemson's here now. The Clemson, South Carolina, the Palmetto Bowl is a SEC game. That would be cool. Because my fear, and I think a lot of people's fear, is that this is going to tear the tradition of college football apart. Now, Southern Cal, that's already happened. I don't know if there's, older than 30, 40-year-old Southern California fans waking up this morning, or UCLA fans waking up this morning saying, wow, our history's gone. I was young when Southern Cal was a powerhouse. For most of my coherent football watching life, I've watched them tumble into irrelevancy. So getting them relevant again, reestablishing those rivalries that used to be great in the Big Ten, if Notre Dame joins, that's a possibility. But as it stands, there's no rivalry games with those two teams. They'll play UCLA, but you've lost the Oregon game. You've lost the Washington game. You've lost the Cal game. You've lost the Stanford game. These are all big games for Southern Cal, and that's gone. So a lot of the tradition has just been destroyed in college football. When Texas and Oklahoma left, it's going to destroy some things. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State not happening is going to hurt. If they don't play in the non-conference, which I hope they do, but there might be some sour grapes, and Oklahoma State might not want to do it. Just like Texas and Texas A&M. When Texas A&M left, that game has not been played since. So Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC is a little bit different because we're getting some rivalries back. But are you scared that what's going to end up is college football is going to get professionalized? It'll be 2 super conferences. The tradition, the rivalries, it'll be gone. Because that's what makes college football great. And if that's gone, that's something that can severely hurt the brand. NIL is what it is. A couple kids making money, a couple random kids making a lot of money. College football can survive past that. But if you start tearing apart the traditions and the brands and the rivalries and all that stuff, that's a whole different deal. But is the SEC, and to a smaller extent the Big Ten, are they the only conferences left that are still valuing that? Is that why they're going to be the last 2 standing, because they haven't forgotten what matters, the tradition? It just means more. The SEC, at 16 teams right now. If they stay there, I'm assuming they will do the 3 permanent opponent model. They care about keeping these games intact. They care about Alabama playing Tennessee every year. Alabama's going to play Auburn regardless. The Iron Bowl is going to happen. The Egg Bowl is going to happen. But they care about some of these rivalry games. They care about Georgia playing Auburn. They care about the Deep South's oldest rivalry. They care about the cocktail party. These things are going to stay, I think, in the SEC, or they're going to do everything in their power to keep these alive. But is the rest of college football? The Big 12 is already out on an island. The Big 12's got BYU, West Virginia, Houston, Iowa State. Like they're all scattered. Cincinnati's in the Big 12. Cincinnati's in the footprint of the Big 10. I always thought the Big 12 was just a way for Cincinnati to get into the Big 10 down the road. So is this all going to be gone? The geography is already mostly gone, but is the tradition going to be gone too? Or is the SEC with their old rivalries, the Big 10 with their careful selection of schools saying we care about academics, we want prestigious institutions, universities, will they say, look, Oregon, you fit the bill. Stanford, you fit the bill. You can come join. But everybody else, sorry, we're not interested in Arizona State. We don't want a party school. That's not good at sports. Arizona State, you stay there. You can go to the Big 12 with all the secondary Texas schools. So that's my fear. I think that's a lot of people's fear. So if you got any more thoughts, 803-404-6100. We got about a half hour left. You can call us on the Love Charlotte phone lines, Cool Care Heating and Air text lines. Got to hit a break, and we got to give you, again, number 12 on the top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. We'll get back in this Big 10 conversation when we come back, though. It's the early game, 107.5 game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's
30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years.
Number 13, running back Deuce Staley.
Leaping Staley touchdown. Staley attended Airport High School in West Columbia and was an all-state wide receiver, while also playing some running back, quarterback, and defensive back. His senior year at South Carolina, Staley finished 13th in the nation in rushing with 1,116 rushing yards. Edwards has an angle on him. Down at the 13-yard line is Deuce Staley, 36 yards. Staley led the team in receptions as well. He was just the third Gamecock to ever be named first-team All-SEC. Staley leaps for the touchdown. In 2 seasons, Staley rushed for 1,582 career yards and caught 59 passes for 489 yards. Deuce Staley is going to score from 51 yards. Deuce was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 3rd round of the 1997 NFL Draft.
Number 13, running back Deuce Staley. It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Looks like most of the other accidents have gotten cleared. Still looking like they're working one in Elgin, Cherokee Boulevard at Bowen Street. And weather-wise, of course, rain is going to be a part of our forecast for the next few days. Off and on storms and showers could pop up. After lunchtime today is what we should be looking at. A high today of only about 82. Then we get to low 90s for the next few days, 90 tomorrow. And then get to about 91 for the 4th of July. But right now, we have those overcast conditions, and it's 76 at 107.5 The Game.
If you have tax problems, it can affect all aspects of your life. Now's the time to do something about it. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. Everyone at our firm truly believes we can improve the lives of our clients by eliminating the stress and worry of IRS tax problems. We're a local South Carolina law firm dedicated to resolving your tax problems for good. Simply put, we solve tax problems. So if you're facing IRS tax liens, bank or wage levies, or have years of unfiled tax returns, come meet with us in person. Your first visit is free and confidential. We'll show you how we will solve your problem and how much it'll cost. So don't put it off any longer. Call us now at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to our website at irsproblemsolving.com. It is time to do something about that tax problem. Your solution is right here in South Carolina. So hire a South Carolina attorney. Hire me, John Ecton.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com.
Tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right. We'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
3630592 for more details. Did you know summer is the best time to get your carpets and air ducts clean? During the hot, humid summer months, bacteria and allergens are at an all-time
NC State and UNC, but no Duke.
No one other than the cleaning experts at Zero Risk Carpet
Is
and
that
Air Duct Cleaning with over
so the Duke will have to just be by themselves?
most recommended cleaning company in the Midlands. And right now, they are having their huge summer sale. 15% off all cleaning services. Carpet,
Patrick.
rugs, upholstery, tile, and air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZeroRiskColumbia.com. Zero Risk is the right way to clean.
Want the news without the
Did a lot of
News Nation is news for all.
research and
All sides, no spin.
thought organizing yesterday.
Go to newsnationnow.com.
Knew this was going to be a big topic, so did not want to come into it ill prepared.
Keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the Gutterman.
The Guttermen have been providing top-notch service throughout the Midlands for over 47 years, building their business on relationships.
I don't think there's too many markets in the country that are going to not talk about Kevin Durant today, though, for more than 2 minutes.
Keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the Gutterman.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Europe.
And what we're talking, of course, is about conference realignment. Not spending too much time on the NBA this morning. There was once again over $1 billion given out in the first hour of free agency yesterday, though, and Kevin Durant wants to get traded to either Miami or Phoenix. Phoenix wants Devin Booker or Bam Adebayo. Devin Booker signed a 4-year, $214 million contract yesterday. And that's your NBA update. I know there are NBA fans, but every time we talk NBA, we just get texts, why are you talking about this? No one cares. For those of you out there listening, I'm sorry. I would love to talk about it more, but there's bigger fish to fry. So I guess the question for this segment, if everyone's fair game right now, everyone in the ACC, Big 12, and Pac-12 is fair game right now, and the SEC and Big 10 have plans to go to 20, who are the 4 you want? And who are the 4 you'd like to see in each conference? And are you in the camp of just let the SEC take everyone they can? Do you want the SEC to go grab Oregon because then the SEC will be better than the Big 10? Like, as a fan, a South Carolina fan, what do you care about? What aspect of this expansion do you care about? Do you feel like you want the SEC to win, quote unquote, win this battle, or do you want the SEC to add Southern teams, Florida teams within our footprint to keep the brand as similar as possible?
Mm-hmm.
So if I said 4 teams, do you just want the 4 best teams? Because that would probably be Clemson, Florida State, Miami, or Oregon, Stanford, Washington. I don't know, some combination of those teams. Would you want Washington in the SEC? Literally the most northwestern city in America. Do you want them to be in the Southeastern Conference? Or would that geography just bother you too much? Because it bothers me a little bit too much. I would like the SEC to be the strongest brand in college football, but I think with the foothold that the Southeast already has on this sport, that's going to happen regardless. Maybe that'll start to shift. But would you want to see the SEC go west like the Pac-12 has or the Big Ten has? Because now the Big Ten goes from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. There will be games where the University of Maryland flies from, I guess, BWI or Dulles Airport an hour from the Atlantic Ocean, 2 hours from the Atlantic Ocean, to Los Angeles on the Pacific Ocean. That is insane. I never thought college football would get there, but geography is gone. So do you feel like, hey, this is not cool? The Big Ten's starting to creep up as the best conference. They're going cross country. They're bi-coastal now. We need to go west. We need to go get Oregon. We need to go get Washington. Or is it, hey, we still want the South. If we're going to add, we want Clemson. We want Florida State. We'll take Oklahoma State because it's close enough. I don't know. I don't know where people are at. Most people, it sounds like there's a lot of anti-Clemson joining the SEC people. But once the ACC is gone, if the ACC is gone, that's a totally different discussion. Craig said he wanted NC State as part of his core,
Big 12,
which interests me. Clemson, NC State, Florida State, North Carolina.
Basically the Texas Conference.
And I said we weren't going to talk about it because this is a football move. But how does basketball play into this at all? Does it play into it at all? Big Ten's a great basketball conference.
And you wonder, like,
The
how
ACC
fast
is a
are
basketball conference. When Maryland joined the ACC, the Big Ten wasn't really excited about it. The Big Ten fan bases, because they didn't feel like Maryland really fit in. Maryland fans weren't excited about it because they knew that they were losing the Duke, the North Carolina, the Virginia, the classic basketball games. And Maryland's a basketball school first and foremost. So does basketball do anything here? The Big 12 looks like it's in a position that it might be able to establish itself as the third conference. Does the Big 12 say we'll go ahead and be the basketball conference? Like, can the Big 12 go get Duke? Can the Big 12 have Kansas, Duke, North Carolina? I don't know. I don't know if basketball factors into this at all, if it moves the needle whatsoever. So is Duke at all a valuable entity here because of that basketball team? North Carolina's at least got a decent football team, so I think North Carolina would have value. But does North Carolina fit in the SEC? I don't know. They maybe would be more along the lines of what Vanderbilt is. Clemson fits the SEC. Clemson operates like an SEC school. Florida State operates like an SEC school. Miami is beginning to operate like an SEC school. Virginia Tech kind of fits in. Get further up Route 81. Get further into Virginia. Be nice. But the rest of it, I don't know. Where do you see this playing out? What would you like to see come next? And honestly, just when you saw this news, other than holy S, picking your jaw up off the floor, what was your actual reaction to Southern Cal and UCLA joining? Were you hit with a wave of, wow, this is a bummer? Or were you like, oh man, this is awesome. College football is crazy. It's the best reality show in sports. That's what we say about college football. Were you pumped, or were you like, wow, this is the beginning of the end? Because I think I was excited at first because I was like, wow, okay, Friday show by myself, no Bill. Got something to talk about. But then I started thinking about it, thinking about the rivalries, thinking about all the things that are going to be kind of left by the wayside here. I was sort of bummed about where this is going. And I don't know where it ends, but I think it's going to end with no NCAA and super conferences, the Big Ten champion playing the SEC champion, things like that. Maybe we'll get 3 super conferences. Maybe the Big 12 pounces on this opportunity. But I definitely think that the next couple months here will be very important. And the key players, the Kevin Warrens, the Greg Sankeys, the ESPN, whoever's making decisions on this at ESPN, the decisions they make in the next couple months could go a long way in shaping the next 20, 30, 40 plus years of college football and really the history of college football altogether. So just a wild day. It's been a wild show. It's going to go through the weekend. I don't know if we're going to come back on Tuesday and there will be more teams in either of these conferences, but Bill will be back too. And I'll be very interested to hear what he's going to say. But we got one more segment to wrap this thing up. It's the early game. It's 107.5. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. July 4th plans. It is a long weekend. And that conversation has been neglected today. So we will get it. We will get into that to close out the show. It's the early game. It's 107.5 game.
Quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
I'm guessing some people may be taking a long weekend like Mr. Bill, because traffic's been pretty decent out on the highways this morning. Just that disabled vehicle, I-26 westbound before exit 97. People might slow down to take a peek, think, hey, I think I know him. But hopefully it's not too bad out there right now. But other than that, really no major tie-ups to speak of. And our forecast, yeah, we're going to see some chances for some showers and some storms today, especially after lunchtime. Could see some isolated storms for the next few days, but certainly no washouts. Just kind of keep an eye on the forecast. 82 for your high today, up to 90 tomorrow, then 92 and 91 respectively, heading into July 4th. Right now, though, 76, 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Family Dollar. At Family Dollar, we know you want more to enjoy your summer. That's why you'll find more in every store. From grilling supplies and beach toys at great value to refreshing deals on your favorite soft drinks. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ekman and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ekton Law Firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ekton with the Ekton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EktonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a new laundry set that provides a powerful yet gentle clean in less time, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Get up to 25% off plus 750 instant savings on select appliances. Valid June 22nd through July 13th. U.S. only. Gas dryer extra. See store for details.
Hey, I'm Jackie, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is the chicken. It is golden brown, so juicy, so delicious. It's the perfect savory start to my day.
Hey, I'm Matt, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is the freshly baked, flaky, buttery biscuit. When I take a bite, it's kind of like, crispy, soft, crispy. Crispy outside, soft interior, crispy chicken. There's really nothing like it.
Start your day with the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit, available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
Rob tried to manage his constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating day after day. After realizing it was irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, he found another way and finally said yes to adding Linzess.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The Early Game
with Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
The Early Game, 107.5
The Game.
And final segment of the final program before you send you in to 4th of July weekend. I want to try and rip through these texts. We just got a bunch of them at once. I'll just quickly touch on them as quick as I can. All right. Right. So I know we look at this conference realignment through the football lens, but is it going to cause an issue for non-revenue sports? Yes, I think it will. especially if you are a school in California whose teams are going to have to commute mostly to the Midwest and the East Coast. I think that's going to cause a problem. Roster sizes, traveling a whole baseball, softball team multiple times a week, I think that's going to cause a problem. That's just another headache that they're going to have to solve. But they have decided that the hundreds of millions of dollars that they're going to make from being in the Big Ten makes it worth it. As far as my regional question, do you want to add teams like Oregon and Washington or keep the SEC regional? Richard says keep the SEC in the Southeast, not Missouri. Jeff, let the SEC grab Clemson, FSU, and Miami, Virginia Tech, split it into 2 divisions, then play the remaining team playoff. 9 division opponents, rotate the 3 from the other side. No more cupcakes, just quick thinking here. I'm pretty much on board with that. And that's what I said I think is going to happen is ultimately the SEC is going to do their SEC-only tournament. Big Ten is going to do their Big Ten-only tournament. The winners of that are going to play each other. There's your national champion. Once we get to super conferences, that's what it's going to be. And it's going to be acknowledged as the national champion. So get to 20 each. Get that back to 2 10-team conferences. The pod discussion, the 3-part discussion was fun while we had it.
And then where do the bowl games go? How does that all get? How does all that play out?
Maybe the bowl games just get distributed down to the rest of the non-super conference teams, and they say, look, you're an actual college league, the Appalachian States, the Coastal Carolinas. You guys are a college league. We're the semi-pro league that we do our own thing. We're the super conferences. We play a different sport than you guys.
Is that what the sponsors want, though? Like, how much would that reduce the number of bowls at that point?
Yeah, probably. I would think so. Or just make them. The bowls are already going downhill, but if you know,
watered down.
Yeah, if you know that you're not going to get one of the top 40 brands of college football playing in your bowl game, you're probably not going to get the same type of advertising dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But for the teams, maybe it would make for the teams that if the purity of college football would be in that lower division.
Mm-hmm.
So if Coastal is in a bowl game, it's still going to mean something to them because it'll be prestigious again. So yeah, that's definitely going to be a whole another can of worms. I don't know what's going to happen there. I guess I'll reset this. Someone's texting. Can you just tell me real fast? The ACC is ending. No, the ACC is not ending. But ACC has a bad TV rights deal that's going to make them basically half of what the SEC and the Big Ten are going to be getting 5-10 years down the road. And the ACC is locked into a TV rights deal with ESPN until the 2035-2036 season. The question is, will they be able to get out of that? Because there are a couple desirable teams in that conference for the SEC, like Clemson, like Florida State, like Miami, like possibly Virginia Tech. For the Big Ten, there are desirable programs with great academic backgrounds, like maybe Virginia, maybe North Carolina, maybe Duke, maybe Wake, maybe some of those teams like that. I doubt Wake, but Virginia, North Carolina, Duke, possibly. Boston, I'm sure they want Boston College. Maybe they want to take the Northeast as well. So the question becomes, are they stuck until 2035, 2036 because ESPN is not budging? They're not going to release them from those contracts. It's just not going to happen. Can the ACC throw out enough of a fit to just blow up the conference altogether and say, we'll take whatever punishment you want to divvy out. Go ahead, try, but we're all out. We don't want to do this anymore. Or will ESPN say, Clemson, Florida State, you guys can go to the SEC because we own the SEC already. It doesn't matter. You're just going to make us more money anyway. Will Greg Sankey have to get involved because of his obvious relationships with ESPN through negotiating the last media rights deal? It is very, very complicated, and I could not tell you right now what's going to happen. But as far as realignment, the Big 12 seems most primed to make an aggressive move to be the third conference. There's already rumors yesterday that the Big 12 was going to go try and get Arizona and Arizona State, and they're going to try and get Utah and Colorado. All of this makes sense for the Big 12 footprint. Colorado not as much, Utah not really, but they've already got BYU. BYU is part of that new 4-team expansion where they added Central Florida, Houston, Cincinnati, and BYU. So BYU, Utah back in the same conference. You get Arizona to pair with Texas and solidify the Southwest there. It kind of makes sense without destroying college football regionally too much. It makes more sense than Southern Cal and UCLA being the Big Ten does. I'll say that. So that's where we're at. Tuesday could be a crazy day. The Big 12 doesn't even have a commissioner right now. They got a new commissioner starting August 1st. It's a month from today.
That's a great point.
Yeah. What is that dude going to walk into on August 1st?
Or what's he working on now?
He's either going to walk into the third super conference or he's going to walk into a non-existent conference. I have no idea. George Kliavkoff, the commissioner of the Pac-12, may not have a job on August 1st. That conference may not exist. If something happens, I don't know who's negotiating these deals. If George Kliavkoff says, all right, well, I just lost Southern Cal, UCLA, and then the Arizona schools just bailed on me to go to the Big 12, and Utah went to the Big 12, Colorado went to the Big 12. Now I've got what? They just lost 6. That's half their conference. I got 6 teams here. So now I have Oregon, Washington, Oregon State, Washington State, and Cal Berkeley and Stanford. That's tough because Phil Knight's not sitting still. Phil Knight's making a move. If anybody's making a move and securing their university's future, it's going to be Phil Knight. So it's going to be a wild weekend. I'm so happy for everyone that's going to be able to barbecue and talk about this over the weekend and watch the kids swim in the pool or run around the park for fireworks and just be able to talk about this all weekend. It's such a good conversation piece. What's the plan for the Jensen household?
I think it's pretty chill. We kind of did a lot of like yard work and cleaning this past weekend. So like it's time to just chill out, enjoy the pool. I've got one of my sisters coming in next week. So probably have to do some cleaning around the house for that because, I'm a little retentive on that. But it should be fun.
Is it going to be raining?
It's saying like off and on. So it's not like 80% chance of rain. It's kind of that 30 to 40%. So you just don't know.
That does make the planning really difficult.
It does, because you just kind of don't know what's going to happen, what could be impacted. Fireworks, I don't want that to get rained out.
Yeah, and like if your plan was, hey, we're going to go to whatever public area and watch the fireworks, we're going to hang out, bring coolers, chill all day, that puts a fork in that plan because you're not just going to stand there, get rain on, then dry off, and then hang for the fireworks. If you're at home and everyone's coming over and you're grilling, that's fine. Hey, it's raining, come inside, hang out for a little while. We'll talk about conference realignment. Then once the rain stops, we'll go.
I'm sure that's the only thing we'll talk about. Conference realignment. That's all we're talking about.
That's the only thing we're talking about right now. So we'll talk about conference realignment, who you want the SC to add, and then when the rain stops, we'll go outside and we'll light off about a couple firecrackers and we'll grill some hot dogs.
Yeah,
sounds like a good day.
That'll be the other part is protecting the dogs from the fireworks because they'll
they're scared of
go.
them.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the barking will just go crazy and have one hiding in the bathroom, the other two will bark. Yeah, it's good time. And those thunder vests, haven't found those to be very effective.
What are they, just weighted vests?
Yeah, pretty much. It makes them feel better. And so it's like I fell to the marketing and some people I think it has maybe worked for. Mine, no, not so much. Which is kind of a bummer. So
I do sympathize with anyone that has that problem. That is tough because there's one, you don't want your dog to be scared, feel bad about it, and two, there's nothing you can do.
No,
they're going to be going off for a couple hours straight.
Absolutely.
And with 4th of July on a Monday, they're probably going to be an all weekend thing. There's going to be fireworks on Saturday. There's probably going to be fireworks on Sunday, and of course, people are going to light them off on the actual 4th of July. So,
it's just nighttime is just going to stink. I don't know. One thing, my dad, he never liked fireworks, but that he was in World War II, and he didn't care to hear that. I made him think of war, and I thought that was an interesting perspective.
Like PTSD, I heard that too. Yeah.
But I do enjoy watching them. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it is synonymous with the 4th of July. It's patriotic, all that stuff. But
more people will be able to get out this time, so that's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So whatever you're doing, whether you're grilling, you're going somewhere, going to the beach, lighting off fireworks at your house, whatever. Hope everyone has a safe and happy 4th of July.
Yep.
Whole crew will be back here on Tuesday. Bill will be back with us after his golf weekend.
That's a threat. I mean,
right. We'll see how much the sports world changes in the next 72 hours or so. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you Tuesday.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover.
All right, live stream. Everybody have a great 4th of July weekend.
Have an awesome weekend, guys.
Whole crew will be back on Tuesday. See ya.